Ready, City Clerk? Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we gather, we humbly seek blessings upon this meeting. May we act with strength, courage, and the will to perform our obligations and duties to our people with justice to all. Let us seek wisdom so that we may act in the best interests of our people, our neighbors, and our country. All this we ask so that we may serve our community with fairness and respect, putting their needs before all.
Please be seated. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes. Councilmember Caserta. Here. Davis.
Here.
Kolstad. Here. Marsali. O'Neill. Here. Watanabe.
Here.
And Mayor Gilmore.
Is there
To excuse Councilmember Morcelli.
motion second to excuse Councilmember Varselli? And that passes unanimously. Okay, we have then approval of the minutes from October 11th. Motion, second. Lights on the motion. And that passes unanimously. Approval of minutes, October 18th.
Second.
Motion, second. Lights on the motion. And that passes with 2 abstentions. Do you have that, City Clerk? Yep. Okay. And then we have the special meeting minutes of October 24th. Lights on the motion? Motion, second.
Motion to approve.
Motion second, lights on the motion, and that passes unanimously.
Mayor, that was supposed to be an abstention on my vote.
City Clerk, did you get that? Okay. All right, we have continuances and exceptions, and we do have one item that will be continued tonight. City Manager, would you like to announce that item? I believe it's 18A, it's the Moonlight Bowling Alley development.
Yes, Madam Mayor. 18A, at the request of the developer, Prometheus, they requested the deferral of this item to January 10th.
Okay, do we have a representative from the developer here this evening, from Prometheus? Okay, seeing none. Is there any council questions on that? Is there a motion and a second?
So the date certain it will be January 10th?
That's the request for now.
So move to January 10th. Is there a second? Is there any member of the public like to speak on this issue? Please come forward.
Hi, my name.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Hassam. I find it very. If you could start the timer, thank you, Rod. I find it very suspicious that that the developer would postpone this meeting on the day of the meeting, when hundreds of Santa Clara residents were planning, and they planned their entire week around coming here tonight to oppose the Moonlight development. And how convenient that this hall is filled with members and employees of the 49ers and Manco for item 20 on the agenda. And it is very suspicious, and I know I'm speculating here, that the 49ers did not want hundreds of Santa Clara residents to be in this hall for the other issue, when the 49ers would have hundreds of their members in the hall for the other one. They didn't want the Santa Clara residents to clash with the support that we're seeing in this hall here tonight with the news crews that are out here as well. So I find it very suspicious, and it is a disservice to all Santa Clara residents who are opposing the Moonlight project and had planned their entire week around being here tonight, and are now coming on January 10th, when there will be new council members sworn in. I find that very suspicious, and I'm frustrated and I'm angry. And I'm sure all the Santa Clara residents that had intended to come out tonight and had changed their plans and then had to change them again after this notice was canceled are just as angry and pissed off about this as I am.
Thank you. Are there any other comments about the continuance? And this was a continuance at the request of the developer, not the city. So typically we grant the continuances on this, and I share your frustration because I'm not sure we were able to get any information out to the residents of Santa Clara as to the fact that this might be continued. So I know there might be some people here that we're expecting to
We did get e-notified.
deliberate.
Mayor,
We did get an
We
e-notify
may
out?
not have reached everyone, but we e-notified, we put it on our website. As much as we could, we did inform the public.
Okay, all right.
Tried.
All right, all right. So there's a motion and a second to continue that item to January 10th. Lights on the motion? And that passes unanimously. Okay. Next, we have a special order of business. It's regarding recognition of our outgoing Cultural Commissioner Kathleen Ryan. And I believe Rebecca?
Loretta Beavers.
I'm sorry, Loretta. Loretta Beavers, if you'd like to come forward, please. I know that you have the recognition for your fellow commissioner.
Yes, I would like Kathleen Ryan to please come up and join me. Tonight, we are recognizing Cultural Commissioner Kathleen Ryan for her contributions to the community. Kathleen has served on the Cultural Commission for nearly 4 years, but is now resigning. During her time, she has contributed her time, skills to planning, organizing, and executing a multitude of art and performance services, including the Concerts in the Park, the Street Dance, Utility Art Box Program, Triton Museum Board meetings, Sister Cities Board meetings, and the Chalk Art Festival. Indeed, she played a lead role on the subcommittee for the Concerts in the Park. The entire community enjoys these events, and so we need valuable commissioners like Kathy. Kathleen is known for her easygoingness, her cheerfulness, her work ethic, and her willingness to help out whenever she can. She works full-time, but she has managed to carve out places in her schedule to attend the Sister Cities meetings and the Triton board meetings when necessary. And of course, she's come to every monthly meeting that we've had during her tenure. So Kathleen, on behalf of the mayor and council and Cultural Commission, thank you for serving our community so well and for representing the Cultural Commission at its best at all times. We in the Cultural Commission will miss you, and we'll miss having you as a commissioner. We can appreciate and honor your commitment for serving us so well, and only hope that whoever comes next will be at least as enthusiastic as you. Thank you. So here is a certificate of appreciation to Kathleen Ryan, signed by the mayor.
City manager, do we have a photographer here? Oh,
And a special letter of recognition from the mayor herself.
if we could ask the council to please join us down so we can have a photo with Kathleen
Thank you.
and Loretta. Thank you. Okay, and next we have a wonderful special order of business. It's the presentation of funds to local charities from our 2016 Santa Clara Arts and Wine Festival proceeds. I think we have some big checks coming. City Manager?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I would like to introduce our Director of Parks and Recreation, Jim Teixeira, to introduce all the groups that are receiving this. This is the donations that we received from the Art and Wine Festival, and so Jim will describe how we are going to disperse those.
Welcome, Director Teixeira.
Thank you. Actually, it's my honor to introduce Mike Walke, Chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission. And we also have the commissioners here tonight. From their meeting, they recessed so that they could distribute the checks tonight.
Would you
Mike
like
Walke.
to identify them and they can stand up so the
Mike will be.
community can see them?
Yes.
That would be great. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor Gilmore and esteemed council members. At this time, I'd like to introduce the current Parks and Rec commissioners, Roseanne, George, Joe, Tino, and Andrew. Chuck's in the other room. We are here tonight to thank all the commissioners and especially the community for their support of the 36th Annual Art and Wine Festival, for making it possible to provide funds to local nonprofits in the amount of $65,000. I would like to introduce the nonprofit representatives to receive their checks and take photos one at a time, starting off with Friends of Santa Clara Parks and Recreation, Larry Wolf, Chair, $13,000.
Yay.
Fine, the first round.
Thank you, Larry.
We all
Second-
come down? Okay, let's go.
Yeah, if we could all come down and take a photo. Commissioners, can you all join us, please?
I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Next, I'd like to call up the Santa Clara Police Athletic League, Officer Robert Martinez, and the head of the PAL Executive Board, Paulette. They are getting a check for the amount of $13,000.
All right. It's right over there. Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and one last one. 1, 2, 3. All right. Awesome.
I'm getting my exercise in. Next, I'd like to call up Teresa O'Neill, council member and president, Board Member Steve Lodge and Kelly Hollenbrick, and husband Casey Hollenbrink, for the Santa Clara Schools Foundation, a check for a total of $13,000. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
I've never stood in front of so many people before. Alright, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Perfect.
All right, next I'd like to call up the representatives for the Santa Clara Senior Center Health and Wellness Care Management Program. Mallory Von Kugelin, the registered nurse and coordinator for the Santa Clara Senior Center and Health and Wellness Care Management. Mallory? We have a check for the senior center for the amount of $10,000. Kim, thank you.
All right, 1, 2, 3. And one more time. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful.
All right, I'd like to call up Mitten Marfatia, the president of the Rotary Club, Nick Seat, manager, and Joe Sweeney, manager. They're receiving a check for a total of $6,000. Thank you. Take the money.
Dude. One, two, three, and 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
All right, next is something that I completely believe in and support. Santa Clara High School Grad Night Committee, Jennifer Witten, the Vice President of Programs at Santa Clara High School PTSA and member of Grad Night Committee. $4,000 for Santa Clara High School Grad Night.
Do 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
And not to be left out, next is Shelley Agarwa, the Wilcox High School Grad Night Seniors Send-Off Committee. They'll receive a check for $4,000 as well.
Two, 3, and 1, 2, 3.
All right. The final one for tonight is a new one. This goes to the Wade Brommel Youth Sports Grant Program. If Miley from the Recreation Department could step up, please. Miley, we have a check for $2,000.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Once again, we'd like to thank the community, the council, and the commission for their awesome work this year, the 36th annual, and just a reminder, everybody, we're already planning for the 37th annual. It raises much-needed funds for nonprofit organizations and programs in the community. So thank you very much.
Jim Teixeira, I want to thank you and your staff, your department staff. They do a phenomenal job at the Arts Wine Festival. And thanks to the Parks and Recreation Commission, they work so hard to put this together. It's our premier #1 community event in Santa Clara. Really gets everyone involved, and it's just a really, really fun event that everyone looks forward to. And the fact that we can raise so much money and give back to our community, I think is phenomenal. And thank you to the Rotary Club for being the additional help this year. And I know they provided us with resources and other opportunities for the Arts and Wine Festival, a phenomenal beer garden. Not that I went to that at all, but I saw it. It was really great. And so thank you to the Rotary Club as well. So thanks again. Anyone else say anything? Teresa, at least you got a check. You should say something, right? No, kidding.
We thank the city for the opportunity to raise money for our grants to teachers and scholarships for students.
It's really great. Thank you. Okay, next we have the, let's see, do we have to take action, City Attorney, to accept the money? Or, okay, very good. Next, we have the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are approved with one motion of the council. Is there any member of the council that would like to pull any items from the consent calendar? There's a motion to approve. I know the city manager has a couple of things to mention, but let's get from the public. Is there any member of the public that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion? Okay, seeing none, city manager, I know there's a couple things you wanted to mention.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not to discuss these consent calendar items, but let me see, item 15B6, which is the installation of equipment at Steve Carley Park. I just wanted to mention for the council and the public. It had been mentioned during our budget discussions that, our parks are just depleted and we're not taking care of the equipment. So I just wanted to highlight that we are spending this $155,000 for the installation of the equipment. It comes from developer contributions. It comes from the Quimby fee that we collect. And also, council approved the CIP funding for this. So this portion is just the installation of the equipment, and the equipment was purchased by the city separately. So I just wanted to share with the community that we are taking care of our parks one by one. Okay. Second, I wanted to highlight was item D1, which is an award by an association called MISAC, which is Municipal Information Systems Association of California, which has given this award for creative work by our informational technology department, and Gaurav Garg, our IT
Stand,
director.
please, Gaurav, so people could see you.
If you could take a bow,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you very
So
much.
we are very pleased that our city is being recognized for those kind of things.
Thank you, and thank you for that. We're very proud of that. Thanks, Gaurav. Thank you, city manager. Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Lights on the motion? and that passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, consent items pulled for discussion, seeing none. Now we have the unfinished business, 17A, presentation on public outreach for the proposed rate increase for electric service for all classes of customers effective January 1st, 2017. City Manager?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll invite John Rockama, our Director of Silicon Valley Power, our electric department. The actual discussion on this item will be on December 6th, but this is just to present to you and share with the public the outreach effort on this proposed rate increase. So John has a brief
Okay, so there's no
presentation.
action tonight?
No
It's
action
just this
tonight.
presentation. Welcome, Mr. Rockama.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And this is a follow-up to the discussion that we had when we brought an informational memo to you in October about the rate increase. There were questions about the public outreach. So I'd like to do, the next slide here, just quickly talk about what we've done to date, show you some samples, and then talk about our ongoing activities here. So next slide. What I'd like to do, thank you. We've been taught this is part of a longer plan that we've been going on. So we originally brought this starting at the bottom, working up. You know, we mentioned, we talked about this potential rate increase in December of last year. We also included it in our budget, in the budget discussions, and the transmittal letter, and as the budget was being approved. More recently, we did include in both newsletters for inside Santa Clara for the residents, and we've met with industrial customers, the Chamber of Commerce Board, and provided the informational reports, and then made proper notifications or required notifications to schools, state agencies. But then we've also done a series of more social media now outreach, which I'll talk about as we go on here. Just some examples of what we've done. The Outlet is a quarterly newsletter to our commercial customers this went out in early October. For residential customers, we had an article in the Inside Santa Clara that went out in September. We have met with our energy task force that we hold in conjunction with Chamber of Commerce for our larger customers, and our key customer representatives also reached out to our major customers. We've also put a blog out that talks about the rate increase, and this is linked. Links to this blog are on Twitter and Facebook also. And on our website, we've also not only talk about the rate increase and the requirements, but we also have information on our rate assistance programs. For customers that would require a little bit of help with their utility bills. And this is off the back of the Parks and Rec activity guide. And again, this is our rate assistance program. Again, trying to reach out and make sure that those who need a little help have the opportunity to look at our program here. So what we're going forward, moving forward, we did put a notification in all the bills that went out in November. As we talked about, the website is updated here. What we're also trying to do is point all the customers to an email address at info@siliconvalleypower.com. So if they have any comments or questions on the rate increase, we encourage them to communicate with us. And if they have any comments, pros, cons, we'll collect them there, and then we'll kind of summarize those and bring those back to the council on December 6th. We are also monitoring social media with questions and comments, and there's some active discussions going on social media. And most recently, we posted on Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor.com, and Santa City's e-Notify actually went out this afternoon also. So that's the activities we have going on now for the rate increase. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to.
I have a question from Vice Mayor O'Neill.
Thank you. I just kind of wanted to make a comment. Director Rockama and City Manager Batra and Assistant Manager Kuratore and I have been talking, and I think the Silicon Valley Power staff is willing to, we're going to schedule a public session And we'll try to broadly notify to the public if you're interested in coming to learn more about how the finances of a utility the size of Silicon Valley Power operates, and how different it is from the general fund, and so what we have to do in terms of setting those rates. So if the members of the public that are watching, we're going to try to schedule it, I think the week of November 28th was suggested. So once again, you can send a message to that info at Silicon Valley Power, or a message to mayor and council at santaclaraca.gov if you're interested in coming to that session, and we will use all of those social media channels that Director Rakama mentioned to give you the exact time and place. It'll be approximately an hour session where we can hopefully go through and help people understand more about how we arrive at the rates that we do for our electricity. So thank you very much to the staff, and especially Director Rakama.
Thank you. Any other council questions on this? Thank you. City Clerk, do we have any cards on this issue? All right. Any members of the public like to speak on this? Please come forward. Okay, seeing none. City Manager, any closing comments?
No, Madam Mayor, as I mentioned earlier, December 6th will provide a more detailed presentation on this item.
Okay. All right, thank you. So is there a motion to note and file this for now? Motion second to note and file. Lights on the motion, and that passes unanimously. All right, our item set for hearing, we continue. That was 18A, the Moonlight Lanes Apartment Project. We continued to January 10th. Next, we have item 19, reports for action. Perviz Therani, 1141 Main Street, request to waive the fee to rezone 1141 Main Street from downtown commercial zoning district to single-family residential R16L. And the staff recommendation is to deny the request. City Manager?
Madam Mayor, because of my property, I have to recuse myself.
All right, thank you, which requires leaving the dais, as you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I will invite Andrew Crabtree, our Director of Community Development, to give a brief presentation, primarily to share with you the reasons for staff's recommendation to deny this request.
All right, thank you. Welcome, Mr. Crabtree.
Thank you. Andrew Crabtree, Director of Community Development. And just to clarify, the request in front of you is simply one of can we waive the fee? It's not the actual application at this time that's in front of you. The property in question is 1141 Main Street, which currently has a downtown commercial zoning designation, and the property owners are interested in applying to rezone it to a single-family residential designation. And they've requested that the city waive the fee for that application. You can see the general plan is residential. The area has a mix of commercial zoning designations. It's not a rare circumstance. There's a number of properties throughout the city that have zoning designations that are different than their use or general plan. Just by way of background, the city council has adopted a fee for this type of application, which is $6,000, which is intended to cover staff costs in terms of processing those applications. That's in general how our fee permit system is paid. Our permit entitlement system is operated with fees that are collected that pay for the service. In this case, from the 1990s until 2005, the city did have a practice of waiving those fees. The city was proactively trying to encourage property owners that had those non-conforming zoning designations to come in. The last time the city did this, however, was in 2005. In 2011, the city amended its zoning code, and in the change in zoning code, we made it easier for properties that have a non-conforming zoning to maintain the property. They could rebuild it if it burnt down, and in the past, that had not been the case. So, it's our understanding that part of the reason the city was proactively encouraging properties to rezone in the years prior was that there was a recognition on the city's part that our zoning code could create a circumstance where we were, if an older house burnt down or something happened to it, they couldn't build it back. But we corrected that in 2011. At that time, there was sort of an acknowledgement that this was fixing what had been considered to be the problem. So as noted, staff is not recommending that the city council waive the fee. Rationale for that is that we operate our permit system on a fee recovery basis. We depend on those fees that pay for our city staffing. The rationale that we had in the past no longer applies in this case, whereas the zoning code issue has been addressed, and we're concerned that it could establish a precedent going forward. So with that, staff's available for questions.
Mr. Crabtree, how many of these properties do we have left in the old quad that are single-family residential zoned for commercial use?
Well, I'm not sure specifically to the old quad. I know citywide we have probably over 50 or such properties. I would estimate maybe 20 or so are in the old quad, but it's something that can occur throughout the city.
I don't know if people on the council remember back when we were trying to encourage the conversion from commercial back to single-family residential zoning in the old quad. And so the city, we tried to make it attractive for property owners to convert their property back to single-family residential to try to get business-type uses out of the old quad neighborhoods. And so I'm sure that's the reason for this, but we'll hear from the applicant requester to find out. So I was on the council back then when we were encouraging and we were waiving those fees. So why don't we go ahead and hear from the applicant? If you'd like to come forward, please. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Gilmore. So my name is James Collins. My wife, my two kids, we've lived in the house for about 5 years now. And so when we purchased the place, it was being used for weekly rentals to students. And so we converted the house into a single-family home resident. At the time, we also applied for a Mills Act, since the house itself is historic. It's been there since 1892. And when we did that, city planning actually did come to us and ask if we would like to rezone. They gave us information about that whole rezoning process. And then they indicated that it was encouraged. And in the letter that Yen Chen shared with us that we submitted for this, it says that your property has the unusual characteristic of being a single-family residence that is zoned commercial. This is leftover zoning designation that is not consistent with the city's general plan nor the existing use. The city is encouraging property owners in your situation to request rezoning of their property to R1. And so it is our intention to keep this single-family residence, and so we would like to invest further into the house to have an in-law unit for my mother when she comes to visit, and to make the house a little more friendly for single-family residents, since it has been chopped up into 6 different bedrooms. And so we do ask the mayor and the council members to approve the fee waiver request.
So initially, the city approached you to...
Yes, ma'am.
By letter from the planning?
Actually, when we came in to do our Mills Act documentation, Yen Chen talked to us about that and said that we should submit for the rezoning, and that is something that the city was pushing.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? Okay, I don't see any questions. Comments?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you want to apply for the Mills Act, pretty much. You want to restore this house back to single family, correct?
It's already on the Mills Act.
It's already on the Mills Act.
Yes.
Okay, but you just need to turn it into this R1 zoning.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to deny the request from staff recommendation and give him the grant of not the $6,000 so he can move ahead.
So is your motion to waive the $6,000 fee?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
For point of discussion, I'll
Well,
second.
okay, so there's a second for discussion, and then we'll go to the public as well. So Do you have a comment now, or would you?
No, I just want to hear if there's some people from the public
Okay.
that wish to speak on it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to have a seat and be available in case we have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Is there any member of the public like to speak on this issue? Please come forward. Okay, seeing none.
Well, so let me ask, so Director Crabtree said he thought there was about 50 houses maybe left with this designation. Is this the first one we've seen in a number of years? And I understand about the press of the whole issue, we're supposed to be in cost recovery mode.
Yeah. This is the first time in a number of years that we've had someone come forward and ask for this. There have been a few instances where people have brought in those letters that were sent out, somewhere in 2000, up to like 2004 at least, and we've generally told them that that's no longer a program that we have. But this is the first one I'm aware of that's come forward like this.
Okay, so the other folks have been paying the fee in recent years?
Yes.
So, okay, so that's the question, because I was confused about that. Since we had this program, have there been property owners, I'm talking particularly in the old quad, that have come forward to rezone their properties from commercial to residential and paid the fee? I heard there wasn't any, so that's I just got a different answer, so.
Well, I'm not aware if since 2005, if anyone has gone through that process. I'd have to check on that, but it's not my understanding is that we have not, we definitely have not offered any fee waivers since 2005. Whether someone has not pursued an application, I'm not sure.
Okay, so in 2010, did we end the program somehow?
So I would say that the
How
program.
did we end the program?
So it wasn't a very formal program, but I would say that we did end it in 2005 effectively when we stopped doing forward. But in 2011, when the zoning code was changed, there was discussion at that time by the council in the record that, okay, we've addressed this problem that had existed. Now, there may be other implications, but specific to the problem of being able to reconstruct a house if it was damaged, that had been fixed in 2011.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do you have a member of the public?
I think that's his
Wife of the applicant herself. Yes.
My name is Purvis Thorani. I just wanted to mention, in terms of fee recovery, we have a whole project lined up for the house, a restoration to a proper single-family house, as well as making the carriage house, which is a historic structure, actually have a foundation and do basic things to it. So we do plan to work with the city, and I think there'll be a lot of fee recuperation in that respect. And also, when I talked to Yen Chen, he said they haven't seen an old quad request in 5 years at least for rezoning.
Okay, thank you for that information. Councilmember Kolstad, you had a question?
Just a question. I wasn't clear on the motion. The motion was to deny the staff recommendation?
The motion is to waive the fee.
Waive the fee.
Yes. Okay, any other comments? I'll just weigh in on this. I'm in favor of waiving the fee because I was on the council when we did this to encourage the old quad neighborhood to return those properties back to single-family residential use. And I know that particular house, I know it well, and it was chopped up into a boarding house. It really was a commercial boarding house. And I'm really pleased to see that it's being restored back into a single-family dwelling. And I really want to encourage that and encourage that type of activity in our old quad neighborhood. And I think we've done it in the past. We're not getting inundated with these types of requests, but it's really a request that I really encourage because I think it sends a message to the old quad that we want to see it maintained as the single-family neighborhood it was intended to be. So I'm really in favor of waiving the fee. I think it's a small fee for the amount of work they're going to do. We will generate income from other permits that they have to pull for the other types of improvements that we want to encourage on that property. So I'm just weighing in on that. Councilmember Watanabe?
Thank you, Mayor. I know since I've been on the council, I think there's only been one other house that's come before us with some issues, boarding or redesign issues. And I know based on that situation and knowing, just seeing that nobody's here tonight to say that they're opposed to this happening, I mean, that sends a message to me. And and I think it is very important that we preserve the historic portion of our old quad, and glad to see that you want to turn it into a single-family home and preserve it as that. So I'm happy to support this motion as well.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Oh, we have a card? Is it for this one? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, we have a card. James Collins, if you'd like to come forward, please. Oh, sorry. Okay, you spoke. Are there any other questions, comments? Lights on the motion? And that passes unanimously. City Manager?
No.
Oh.
Motion is fine, and I appreciate your taking an action on this. I just wanted to clarify from staff's perspective, it's a small fee. The reason for denial, there were two reasons. Number one, staff doesn't have the authority to waive it because it's a council-approved fee. And second, from staff's perspective, was the precedent-setting issue. So that's why we had to bring it to the council.
No, we fully understand why you made your recommendation.
Thank you.
We fully understand that, and we respect that. Thank you. Okay, our next item on the agenda is adoption of the resolution authorizing the sale of the Gateway Parcel 2 property located at 5451 to 5455 Great America Parkway, approving the purchase and sale agreement with Divco West Acquisitions LLC for a purchase price of $114,250,000 and documents necessary to accomplish the transfer of Gateway Parcel 2 property, approving the amendment to the ground lease with the Irvine Company on Gateway Parcel 2, and approving the easement agreement with PG&E, modifying the current easement area for Line 109. City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'll invite Ruth Shikata, our Assistant City Manager, to come up and share some detailed information. But I would just wanted to summarize that it's a good news for the city as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. And we were able to market this property really well and got a good price on it. And with this, we'll be able to not only retire the debt that's remaining, but also that city will gain from the distribution of the remaining funds. So, Ruth?
Thank you. Ms. Shikata?
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, and members of the council. Ruth Shikata, Assistant City Manager. As the City Manager mentioned, we are charged, the successor agency is charged with disposing of its assets as a result of the dissolution of redevelopment throughout the state of California. We adopted a long-range property management plan in December of last year, setting forth the procedures upon which we would be selling off our assets. So this one is the first one that's come to market. We got the assistance of Eastdil Secure to broker the transaction for us. In doing so, that they put out an offering memorandum in September of this year, about 60 companies. They interviewed and talked to about 60 companies. We ended up receiving 8 offers, and they ranged from $92 million about to the purchase price that we're recommending today. So with this action, if the board approves it, then we're going to be moving to the oversight board this Friday for their approval. The action, in order to finish the transaction, is required to be approved by both the City Council acting as successor agency and the oversight board. So I think that the city manager and the mayors have outlined the actions required in order to close the transaction. We hope to do that by the end of the year. In fact, that both the buyer and the agency are very motivated to close the transaction by the end of the year. As the manager mentioned, we have the agency has about $60 million in change in debt remaining. So with this transaction, we will be closing out all of our debt, and then all the monies that start coming in from the sale of the properties then will be split amongst the taxing agencies, of which the city will gain about 10% of that.
Okay, very good. Any members of the council have questions on this? Anything else, City Manager? Any members of the public like to weigh in on this item? Only $114 million sale?
Motion to
Anybody
approve.
want to talk about it? There's a motion, and oh, yes, please come forward.
Oh, hot dog man.
That's our dude.
Welcome. Hi.
That's still my neighborhood too.
Yes.
Just a quick one. Remember last time we were here, we were talking about the aquatic park? It was like, what, 80 some odd million? I said, all we have to do is sell 80 houses. There's your property right there. Let's go for the aquatic park. I'll be back.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we only get about 10% of it. It was, our hard-earned property was stolen from us, but we don't really want to talk about that too much. So there's a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Lights on the motion, and that passes unanimously. All right, next we have the Stadium Authority items, and I'm going to ask the council move up item 20F to the beginning, because 20A and B depend on what we do on 20F. So is there a motion to move up 20F?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on that? Lights on the motion? Thank you very much. So now we're going to move up 20F, which is note and file the report and/or provide the executive director with direction regarding the stadium management agreement. Stadium executive, yes.
Different
Can't say
hat.
city manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board. Just in the way of informing the public, the Stadium Authority Board has retained the services of Harvey M. Rose as the auditor for Measure J audit that ties in with the stadium operations. So as part of that, the auditor has been looking at the resources available within the city, as well as the agreements that we have with the 49ers team in different forms. It's management co for the operation. We have several agreements, very complicated, but this focuses on the operations of the stadium. And at the previous or the last audit committee meeting, the committee asked staff to bring forward this agreement to the full board for discussion, and that's what we've done. And I just wanted to share that the original agreement was executed on March 28, 2012, and it has 4 amendments since then. In addition, the committee also asked information on the requirements of the auditor, the things that the auditor had asked from the 49ers. I would like to report that originally the 49ers, and they're here to speak for themselves, that they had created a Dropbox, and they had provided a couple agreements in that Dropbox which were available to the auditor. And one item out of 6 or 7 was available for review. But I just got an email today, this afternoon, I think the committee members also got from the auditor, that 49ers have now made the rest of the information asked for available at their site. There were different reasons why it couldn't be provided to the auditor, but auditor could go there and review those, and that's just the latest information I just wanted to share with you. In addition, we've also provided you a bullet point summary of the management company or the ManCo agreement and what are the deliverables on an annual basis to the city or to the stadium authority. That's in your packet as well. So you can open the discussion. Staff will be here to answer your questions, and like I said, the team members are here too.
Okay, so what we're talking about this evening is the management agreement between the Stadium Authority and ManCo. It's a management agreement of the stadium. And at our last, well, actually it was 2 audit committee meetings ago that we requested that this item come to this meeting. There's a list of obligations that the stadium manager must provide to the Stadium Authority annually. And there's probably about 15 items that must be provided. As of our last audit committee meeting, the majority of those items have not been provided to the Stadium Authority. For the last 2.5 years, they have not been provided. If it wasn't for the auditors giving us that information, we have been asking for that information. At least 3 council members have been asking for that information for over a year, and it's not been provided. City Manager, I did read the information we received this afternoon, And to the best of my knowledge, based upon that memo, those items are still not provided to the city. And so the reason that we are here this evening is to give the stadium management company notice that they need to comply with the management agreement. Just look at the contract, give us what's required in the contract for the last 2.5 years. And in order to do that, we have to give formal notice to the Manco company to give us the documents that are required. Now, the documents that we're talking about that are required are the underlying financial and budget documents that really provide the basis for the budget. For instance, we get budgets that have numbers that are all bundled together and they're not separately outlined, so we can't tell where they're coming from, or are we getting the type of income that we're supposed to get for the Stadium Authority. It's all bundled together. It's impossible for us to figure out. For the last 2.5 years, we have been asking Manco to separate out these line item budgets so we can know what was our share of concessions, what was our share of parking revenues, what were the cost allocations between the shared expenses, between the NFL and the non-NFL events, just so we can make intelligent decisions here on the Stadium Authority Board, and we can represent our city to make sure we're protected to get the types of income that we are supposed to get. We can't make educated decisions on budgets when we don't have the underlying budget documents. To this day, as we sit here, we still don't have those underlying budget documents. The 49ers and the Management Co. may have those documents. They will have now 30 days to get them to the Stadium Authority. That's why we're here this evening. We have a fiduciary relationship with our residents in Santa Clara. We have an ordinance called Measure J in our community that says we cannot spend any taxpayer money into the operations and maintenance of the stadium. And our auditor has already found instances where we have spent taxpayer money for the operations and maintenance of the stadium, which is against Measure J. So I understand there's a lot of people here from the 49ers organization. I can see that. I respect that. You're all welcome to come up and talk. We will not stop that for any way, shape, or form. But you've got to understand, if the 49ers management company would just give us the information that's required under the agreement, we wouldn't have any issues. We won't have any. Just provide us with what the agreement says. That's why we're here, because we have not gotten the information that's required under the contract. So we have to take this level of action, which we don't want to take. Our auditors have asked for well over a month and a half, almost 2 months, for this information, and they have not received it. Had the information been received, we wouldn't be here tonight to talk about this. So I just want to set the stage. That's what we're doing. I'm hoping that the council will set a motion in place that we send to the 49ers a notice. Please provide us with the information that's required under the management agreement. There's about 15 items. If those items come in, then we're good. We will proceed ahead with the management agreement. If they don't come in, then we will look at taking steps to take back the management of the stadium. We have a responsibility to our community to make sure that we are enforcing our contracts for the Stadium Authority, and that's what we're doing. So, Councilmember Caserta.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate your analysis there. Is this, I guess, question directed at staff or auditor and or the Niners, so I can, information's power. Am I correct to assume that some of these items that the mayor has discussed have been given to the auditor and some have not as of today?
That's correct.
And then the Niners today gave all the other that we were looking for, with the caveat that the auditors can come to their facility to see the transparency and the sunshine on them. Is that correct?
That's my interpretation from the email that I received from the auditor, that's the information they received from the team.
Now, my question is, if they are doing that, And Mayor, please, I would love your thoughts as well, and the Niners and the auditor. Is someone, the auditor here?
No, he
No,
said it.
auditor is not.
No.
Okay.
No.
So if what you're saying in the email is accurate, are there any of the items that we haven't received or that the auditor has ability to receive been satisfied then? Meaning the questions that the mayor had now with this email, will that encompass all of that from your perspective now?
Yes, the ask is clear, but they have not received all the information that they had requested, except that now it may be available, I don't know.
Okay, so the maybe part, I'd love someone from the Niners to discuss. And then my other question is, I think we all agree that the stadium has been an economic positive for our city, and we can talk about Measure J and all that, and I understand that. But my question also is, from a competitive standpoint, the proprietary advantage that they have of securing great things like Beyonce concerts and the Super Bowl moving forward, and we had in the past. Can you talk about the rationale of wanting to keep a competitive advantage by keeping some things under proprietary umbrellas, for example?
If you'd like, I can talk about that, because we talk about that probably ad nauseum at our stadium audit committee meetings. As Vice Mayor O'Neill always says, we don't care how many bottles of Perrier Beyonce drinks in a contract or what she's eating, Skittles or whatever she's doing. We don't care about that. The basic underlying fundamental issue here is that the public owns the stadium. We are the owners of the stadium. There is no information that is confidential to the owners of the stadium. And our auditors, I don't know if they sign non-disclosure agreements or whatever they're doing, but they're keeping everything confidential. We're not making this information public. But I liken this to if you own an apartment building and you hire a property manager, and your property manager tells you, I'm sorry, but all this information I'm receiving is confidential and I'm not going to give it to you. You would fire that property manager. This is the same situation here. It's a public facility. The stadium authority and the city own the stadium. We should have all abilities and full access rights to see all information, especially when it pertains to the financial expenses and revenue of the stadium. So what's happened with our auditors is they've been getting the runaround for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. That's why we're here tonight. We tried to work. We tried to work cooperatively. We asked for the information. And again, keep in mind, Councilmember Caserta, this is information that goes back 2.5 years. It's not just now from this budget cycle. It's 2.5 years that it has not been received by the stadium authority. So it's a tremendous amount of information. Some things may not exist. They have to be created. But the fact of the matter is, everyone tells us all the time, follow the contracts. We're told that all the time. Stadium authority, you sign contracts, you live by the contracts. Well, so does Management Co. Live by the contracts. That's what they say. The legal responsibilities are clear. The information the auditor sent us today was, yes, there's going to be some information available, but the auditors are welcome to come to the 49er headquarters because the information is confidential. But those are annual required reports to the stadium authority. It doesn't say anywhere in the agreements that they're confidential, not to be available to the stadium authority board, or you have to come on site, or everything's redacted out of them. There's no way for us to figure out the underlying financial status of the stadium without seeing these reports. That's why they were put in the management agreement. That's why we hired the property manager to do this for us. You cannot withhold information from us. You cannot withhold it. So we just want to get what's required by the contract. There's a lot of hoopla here. You know what? Spend time putting the contracts together, get them to us, and then we move on. But we don't have them as of right now. The email that came in, we still don't have them.
Okay, so when a representative of the Niners comes, I'll ask
Yes,
some more
and one
questions,
other
Madam
thing,
Mayor.
we're in the middle of an audit. Our audit is going to be extremely delayed now because of the lack of information coming to our auditor. So we have an issue, we have a problem. Councilmember Colston.
Thanks, Mayor. I read Mr. Brousseau's email, and it sounds like that either all of the requested information has been provided or it is available to Mr. Brousseau and his staff to look at the 49ers offices. A couple things occur to me. I can't remember when, but in the recent past, our city attorney had cautioned us that some of this information may be proprietary. It may be the sole property of Management Co. I think since there are officials from the 49ers here, we might want to give them an opportunity to respond and tell us which documents are proprietary and secret, and why. I think everyone knows that all agreements are subject to interpretation, and certainly if we get enough attorneys in the room, we may get a myriad of interpretations. That being said, I think we should listen to those folks and see what their justification is for keeping the documents at their office and keeping them confidential.
All right, before we do that, Vice Mayor O'Neill, you have
Thank
comments?
you, Mayor. One of the things, I skimmed back through some of the sections of the agreement earlier today, and some of the questions that I've been asking the representatives from Harvey Rose and Associates at our meetings about this very issue about what's confidential and all that. And what I see and they said that the kinds of information that I, as a Stadium Authority Board member, am interested in is the financial information that relates to particularly the non-NFL events, which is an area where the city is supposed to be making money we have to keep refilling the discretionary fund. It's been emptied a few times, or on the verge of being emptied because of our, the public safety costs have exceeded what we thought, so we've had to tap into that, which I'm glad that the discretionary fund was there, but that wasn't probably what it was intended for. But we're not, what I saw in the agreements was that the information related to the NFL season, which is certainly, that's the 49ers games, that is their proprietary information. There's certain aspects, like I said, the public safety costs, that's a different issue, but the information related to how they're operating their team and their profitability, which, from everything we read has been, very successful. The stadium's been a great boon to them. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the information that relates to costs and, hopefully profits that are due to the Stadium Authority. So I think we can bifurcate the data. And, like I said, if there's been a misunderstanding, I don't believe that we were after the data regarding the financial operations of the team. That's not what I'm looking for, and that's in the agreement, that does make that clear, that that data is proprietary. And once again, we understand the nature of being able to negotiate to have people such as Beyonce and Coldplay and Grateful Dead come to the stadium that we may not want to have, or certainly wouldn't want to have all the data of the ins and outs of their contracts released to the general public. But there is other data about the revenues received for those events, particularly, and like I keep talking about the concessions, but there's other things so that we know how we are truly performing, so that we can adequately plan with the management company and have a plan for where we're going to go with the stadium in the coming years. So if that's been part of the misunderstanding, I just want to make sure that that's not after the team's proprietary data. We're after the data that they have, what the financial data regarding what we have hired them to do for us.
Right, it's just the reports that are clearly outlined. There's no gray areas. They're clearly outlined in the management agreement, and nothing has anything to do with what you had mentioned. That's not what we're asking for, just the items clearly outlined in the management agreement. I see that we have our stadium manager here. If you'd like to speak, or have your attorney speak, whatever you, I see the attorneys coming. Harry O'Brien, please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
Council members, board members this evening, I guess, or at the moment.
Yes.
My name is Harry O'Brien. I'm with the law firm of Goblets, Patch, Duffy and Bess. And I'm here tonight to talk to you about, on behalf of the stadium manager, 49er Stadium Management Company. I'll get right into to some of the details. First, Madam Mayor, you referenced a suggestion that there has been general fund money used in the operation of the stadium. And the only suggestion of that we've seen is an indication in the stadium, in your consultants' status reports, that the city may not have accurately captured the time of reimbursable costs that might have been billed to the Stadium Authority. If that's what you are referring to, that may well be true. That has nothing to do with the stadium manager or the 49ers. I think your consultant has made that clear, that it's the city's responsibility to keep track of what costs are reimbursable and to send a bill for the costs for which it seeks reimbursement. The 49ers have paid every bill that have been submitted. Either Stadco or the management company has paid every single bill that the city has submitted for reimbursement. That has been done in accordance with budgets that this board has approved. And if the city failed to seek reimbursement of costs that was eligible for reimbursement under our contract, that is simply not the 49ers' responsibility. It's not the stadium manager's responsibility. It's the city's responsibility. And if the city submits bills for which it is entitled to reimbursement under our agreements, they will be paid. They will be paid promptly, as they always have been. So. Second, on the subject of information requested by the outside consultant, Harvey M. Roos, as your consultant indicated in this email today, there have been meetings. Mr. Rose's office first contacted the stadium manager in late September. They met on October 12th, reviewed a list of documents, less than a month ago, reviewed a list of documents that were requested. Documents have been provided. In last week, on Election Day, there was a follow-up email delivered by Harvey Rose. There was a response that same week, providing additional documents, offering specific dates when they could make a date to come in to review additional records in the city's office, in the stadium authority, in the stadium manager's office, excuse me. So all information has been provided or made available. It is simply not the case that information requested by your outside consultant has not been provided. It's not the case. Now, it is the case that certain information has not been copied and delivered. There's certain information that we think, we believe, and that we've discussed with the staff and this board before, that we think is appropriate to keep out of the public record. That information concerns a few things. One, contracts with the acts. You referenced the contracts with Beyonce and the details of that. The talent of the acts can get very sensitive about the release of that information. There is sensitive information about the security systems and building systems that very important to keep confidential. So in the stadium operation and maintenance plan, which does exist and will be made available to has been made available to staff before, will be made available to the consultants. It has sensitive information regarding the security systems for the stadium that it is not appropriate to be in the public realm. Finally, we have not provided historically, and we've been clear with you in the past, that we are not providing individual P&Ls on individual stadium events so that one promoter can compare his deal to another promoter's deal. That information has always been available to city staff. It has been reviewed by city staff regularly. The records of those meetings are included in the staff report. That information is available to the city. It has been reviewed by city staff. It has been reviewed by KPMG, the Stadium Authority's auditors. You're correct. It is your information. It is not in your interest to make that information available on an event-by-event basis to other promoters. That said, all of that information will be made available to Harvey M. Rose and Associates. They've been offered several dates next week when they can come and to the 49ers office and review that information, as Gary Amling and his staff and as KPMG and their staff have done in the past. Beyond that, there is, Mayor Gilmore, you referenced 2.5 years of requests for additional information. I got to tell you, we don't know what information you're talking about. We've been here many times over the last 2.5 years. If you have some written indication of past requests for information that hasn't been responded to, happy to take a look at it. I see the stadium management agreement, summary of obligations and reports. Many of those things exist. Many of those things are what has been shared with the consultant. We're happy to go over that list in detail with them, and we're happy to go over it in detail with you. As we sit here today, I don't know what items you're referring to that you think have not been provided. It is simply not true that the list of things on this page have not been provided. So that's in general our answer on that. I would like to refer to you going back to the issue, if I could, of the general fund. I want to read from the latest memo to the Stadium Audit Ad Hoc Steering Committee regarding the costs that were not billed. That report says, the city apparently did not provide central citywide direction to all employees clarifying what work activities are attributable to the stadium and subject to reimbursement. As a result, some staff time for all relevant activities may not have been billed and reimbursed, or some staff time may have been incorrectly billed. That may have happened. I don't believe that Harvey Rose has completed its report yet, but the status report indicates that's what they indicate in terms of what costs may have been borne by the general fund that may have been reimbursable by the Stadium Authority. It is outrageous to suggest that the 49ers are responsible for the city's failure to capture its own time, submit a bill, and request reimbursement. So we are happy to work with the members of this board, with your staff, with Harvey Rose, with KPMG, to review the records that are available, to respond to anything that's missing, pick up the phone and give us a call. We're always happy to sit down and talk with you about concerns you have about the stadium. We don't need to do this in a public hearing. We're happy to do it in a public hearing. If that's your choice, happy to come here and do it and talk about whatever you want to talk about. There's no breach of contract. There's no notice of default that could justifiably be given with regard to our dealings with Harvey Rose or the response to that request. We'll meet with them as soon as they get back to us in response to the dates that we proposed for this week. And if they want to come in and make a time to see it, we'll go over whatever documents they need to see.
Thank you for your presentation.
You are quite welcome.
Yes, go ahead.
Could you clarify again, from your perspective, why you feel there's no breach of contract here?
With respect to what?
Well, I mean, number one, the Harvey Rose audit.
Yes.
Isn't part of the management agreement, or is part of the management agreement? I've had some questions about this that I think I have an answer to, but I want the public to hear and then build up to that last question.
So, the Stadium Authority requires an audit by a CPA firm,
That's
KPMG,
right.
every year. We have gone through that 4 times, both during the construction process
4
and for the
times.
first 2 years of operation. We have worked through audits with KPMG, your auditors, and they've had access to all the stadium authority's records, either those in the control of the stadium manager or the city. They've issued clean audit reports 4 times. We have received, as I just reviewed the timeline, the additional review that's being requested by the Stadium Authority, for which it retained Harvey Rose, is not something that is contemplated specifically in the stadium management agreement. You included that amount in the budget. We didn't object to the inclusion of that. We've been trying to cooperate with Harvey Rose in that process. I don't know what the breach that would be claimed with respect to that is. We've provided information. We're making information available. I don't understand what the claimed breach would be.
Now, you mentioned that whether it was in an email today or earlier that you've invited our auditors to come to see some of this information.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just for not only myself, but for people that I've talked to in the public. The security systems of the stadium, you mentioned a competitive advantage with promoters, the release of certain info like a Beyonce thing.
Yes.
We normally do things as actors, just normal people in our own self-interest. And I want the city to continue to grab as many amazing events as possible to bring money into our coffers.
We support that.
Yes. So can you clarify for me, again, how this information is going to be given to our auditors? And why is it not in our self-interest to let every John Q and Jane Q in Santa Clara see that information?
So all of that information has been made available to the city staff whenever they want to see it. There's a record in the staff report the staff report for today's hearings of the time that they've come and reviewed that information. What we have said to you consistently over the last 2.5 years is that providing that information summarized on an event-by-event basis, you have it rolled up on an annual basis in the annual reports that we provided. Providing it on an event-by-event basis allows one promoter to look at the deal that he cut and the margins that he got and what share of concessions he received, what share of ticket revenue he or she received, and compare that to their deal and use that to negotiate a better deal for themselves the next time. That's the concern. If we roll that information up into an event-by-event format, that's what you're able to see. If we roll it up annually and show you overall, here's what the promoters pay, here's the parking revenue, here's the concession revenue, which you have, then that concern goes away. That's the concern.
Okay, and the last question again is, you're telling me that Gary's office has had this information prior to an email today?
Gary's office has had access to that information over the years. There's a provision in the stadium management agreement that requires quarterly meetings with the city staff to update them on progress with non-NFL events. There's a record in today's staff report of the dates that some of those meetings take place. I think there's been 12 or so of them over the time. They've happened a little more often than quarterly. Gary and some of his staff have reviewed the individual records as reflected in that information that's in your staff report.
And Madam Mayor, look, I'm really proud of the effort we've done as a team the last 8 months under your mayorship. And I mean, what I'm hearing from this gentleman is, multiple audits, the reason in our self-interest to keep some of these things private but also accessible, and then I'm hearing that our staff has access to this. So what I'm saying is I would love your commentary on that as well, because I'm trying to gather information like we all are, and I'm trying to suck it in as a sponge as much as possible and make the best decision for our residents. So I really hope,
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Appreciate it. I do have to correct one thing, though. You said the 49ers never objected to the audit from Harvey Rose. Actually, you did. You objected to the audit that was ordered by the grand jury. We do have the letter. We can make it available in case you didn't get a copy of it, unless it might have come from you, actually, but maybe it was someone from the organization. You actually did object to our audit.
The Stadium Authority budget is subject to the stadium manager's approval because the stadium manager, in addition to managing the stadium, provides a letter of credit that actually assures the Stadium Authority of an additional $25 million of financing if it should require it. In that capacity, the stadium manager has approval authority over the Stadium Authority's budget. So that item was included in the budget, and the stadium manager did not object to the inclusion of that.
Oh,
item
I
in the
know, I
budget.
appreciate that, but you initially objected to the audit, so.
Well, I'm not
Just as
saying
a
I
point of
believe it was
clarification.
a good use of public funds, but that's your decision.
Right, so,
Thank you.
thank you very much for your presentation. Councilmember Caserta, we always have to keep in mind, who do we represent? The 49ers represent themselves. They're a business in the community, and that's fine. They represent themselves. We represent the public, the Stadium Authority Board. So it's our obligation to make sure that the public's getting its fair share of what's happening at the stadium, its fair share of our revenues. We have a right to see what the expenses and revenues are. As Vice Mayor O'Neill pointed out, where we make our money in our community is from the non-NFL events. And so one of the reports that's required that we haven't seen is the shared expense report, shared revenue and expense report. So when an event comes in and something is charged, we want to know what's our share of the expenses and what is the 49ers share of the expenses. We haven't seen the level of detail of those particular things. If all of these reports had come in, and the auditor requested them the beginning of October, so if all the reports had come in, we don't have an issue. So I don't see us having a problem issuing the 30-day notice to provide these reports and to cure any issues. And if the 30 days comes up within that 30-day period, if we can check the boxes and say, yes, we've received all these reports from the past 2.5 years, then we're done. And they're in compliance, and there's no issue. But to this moment, as we sit here, I just read again the letter from the auditor, the email. We don't have all that information. And we went through a month of audit committee meetings, and we're just saying, oh, well, they'll be in meeting next week, or they're meeting, or the auditors will meet with the 49 organization. They'll come with no documentation. And certainly our staff doesn't have the documentation either. So we are here tonight because in some cases, we were told through our auditors that some of these reports don't exist. So we are here with doing our due diligence, representing who we're representing, which is our public and our community of Santa Clara, as you would if you represented any of your interests on the property. We work for the people. People don't have these reports. What are we going to do? We would be completely remiss if we don't enforce our contracts. And obviously it hasn't happened in the past, but it's going to happen now. We're going to enforce our contracts. And I don't know any clearer way to put it. The documents in the Dropbox did not include these documents that are required under the management agreement. Maybe it will take the 49ers management company 3 days to give us all this information. And if they do, we'll ask our city staff to keep us updated. So then we don't have any more issues. So just provide the information and we're done. We move on and they continue to operate the stadium. But we, on our side, on the Stadium Authority side, we are taking and conducting ourselves in a professional business manner. This is a business relationship. This is a business relationship. We have to treat it as such. We're treating this as a business. And the business we're treating for our community and our residents. So I'm sorry, it has to be done. As soon as they provide the information, it's over. Councilmember Watanabe.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. O'Brien, just for clarification purposes, you were talking about turning over documents, and I just want to find out, again, just for clarification, do you agree that these documents should be turned over? Should they be shared with our auditors?
What documents are those, ma'am?
The documents that have been requested, these documents that have been produced, I didn't receive this email that apparently other people have received. So I don't know what documents they are, but just for clarification purposes, I'd like to know if you agree that these documents should be turned over.
The documents that have been requested by Harvey Rose have either already been provided, or we have offered to Harvey Rose's office to come in, send their audit team into the 49ers office and review those documents. Maybe there's additional things they want to get copies of that are appropriate, and we're happy to talk to them about that when they arrive. We are not withholding any information from your consultants.
So basically, you agree that they should be turned over.
We agree that they should be made available for review in our office and, to the extent appropriate, turned over. So, and if I could just add a couple of things. I did want to correct one thing that you said, Madam Mayor. Shared stadium expenses are part of our shared budget. They don't have anything to do with non-NFL events. We share that stadium 6 months, 6 months. So there are items that are allocated based on that 6 months. That's included in your budget. There's no lack of clarity about what the shared stadium expenses are. They're in your budget. They're in the budget that's been approved by this body. You can see every one of them. They've been projected out for the next 40 years in Exhibit J to the stadium lease. So there's no lack of clarity about the shared stadium expenses, and they have nothing whatsoever to do with non-NFL event revenue or expenses. I'd also like to clarify that there is no right to terminate the stadium management agreement for default. That is not within the authority of this body, except for very, very limited exceptions. And so you can issue a notice of, if you choose to issue a notice of default. We don't think it's appropriate. If you choose to do so, we will absolutely do our best to comply with anything you want. If there's anything that does turn out to be missing, we'll do our best to provide it. If at the end of that 30 days you're not satisfied, you do not have the right to terminate this agreement.
That would be your opinion, but thank you. You did say something very important, is that if we do issue the notice, which I hope we will tonight, that you will do your best, the 49ers will do their best in Manco to comply with the information requested. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
All right. Any other questions, Councilmember Colstead?
Thanks, Mayor.
And then I do have a list of cards. There's a lot of people want to speak.
I do agree with something that you said, that we have to look into this. I completely agree with that. I also agree with what you said, that we are business partners with Stadco and Management Co. and the 49ers. And I think the idea of issuing a demand letter is a little premature here. Our own auditor has said that he either has in his possession or has been granted access to the documents that he requires to complete his duties. It seems to me that two things should occur. One, we should consult with our legal counsel, our city attorney, and find out what his opinion is of this situation. And two, we should wait until Fred Brousseau, our auditor, has had an opportunity to go out to the 49ers offices, examine the documents, and report back to the audit committee. Taking a drastic step of issuing a demand letter and making threats where I'm not sure. Actually, I'm pretty comfortable that we don't have the right to make some of them, would be a mistake. And it would jeopardize the relationship with the two counterparties of this agreement. So my advice and to you and to the rest of the council is, let's be patient. Let's wait till we hear back from our auditor before we do something that we might regret, and wait and see what happens going forward. It's not like we're putting this deal on the back burner for 5 years. I mean, they've got dates that they can come and examine those records, and our attorney might tell us that actually we don't have the right to have them in our hand and share them with the whole world, that they're actually protected documents. But they're affording our auditor the opportunity to look at them. I think we should wait and take that time to let him report back to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis?
City Attorney, so I wasn't part of this audit committee, but what I really want to clarify is when did they give us the Dropbox? When did these documents appear, and when did this email appear? Because it all seems to be like now. So I just want to know when this all happened.
Councilmember Davis, I've not seen the email, so I can't answer that question. But I think what the mayor is talking about is there's been a lot of references to 30-day notices and such. And that scenario is covered in Article 11 of the management agreement. If we think that there's some kind of deficiency in the information that we're getting or some kind of obligation that the management company is not providing, under the agreement scenario, we tell them that, and they have 30 days in essence to cure that, and there's some additional language into the agreement if it takes longer than 30 days. If that information is not provided with that during that period, our remedies move on to Section 8 of the agreement. I do agree with Mr. O'Brien. This is a three-party agreement. The agreement does state that we need in most circumstances, we need the permission of Stadco to terminate the agreement. It's not just Manco and the Stadium Authority. It's three parties, and the consent of all or the two of those parties is necessary in most instances to terminate the agreement. So our remedies are somewhat limited there, but again, the process doesn't start until we give notice to Manco what information we believe is deficient.
Okay, so with that being said, in listening to the city attorney, I don't think that these documents came in a timely manner. I don't think, I know that the three of us have asked for breakdowns. I know that we've requested information. I'm kind of getting the impression that it's our staff's fault for not giving us this information. But I think we need to send this warning letter out this 30-day, because to me, there's something inevitably wrong with this timeline. Why is this email come? I don't know about this email. I didn't see this Dropbox information. So here we are at 0 hour, and then all of a sudden everybody's being happy. And then next week, according to Mr. O'Brien, they were given dates to come over and review the information. This is the first time I'm hearing about security systems. I wasn't really sure about that. My concern, along with Vice Mayor O'Neill, is about the non-NFL contracts. And to also talk about Beyonce, whether it's proprietary or not, I don't care about that little bit of information. What I'm looking for is what we are due. And we have a fiduciary right to our residents to audit this and look at this, because they're out there screaming at us saying, what is going on, what is going on? So bottom line, we need to do this, and it's an audit. And I just think that the level of cooperation wasn't there. I think we really need to give the 30-day warning notice and just move forward with this. And yes, we will have to fix the relationship. I get all that. But right now, this is a serious issue. We need to do what we need to do. So I disagree with some of my council members here, but I think the warn notice is warranted, definitely warranted. So I would like to make a motion that we proceed with that right now.
Motion, is there a second? Motion second. So we have now that question on that motion on the table. I have some cards here. So if you're ready, I'm going to call you up 3 at a time. If you wouldn't mind lining up behind the speaker so we can move it along. We'll start with Jim Mercurio. Followed by Ted Atlas and Manuel Torres, if you wouldn't mind lining up, please. Mr. Mercurio.
Well, thank you.
Wasn't quite expecting that, but I appreciate the turnout tonight. Members of the board, thank you for allowing me to address you tonight. My name is Jim Mercurio. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of Levi Stadium and the 49ers Management Company. I take great pride in the work I do at Levi Stadium. I've been working in stadium operations for over 23 years. I've been involved in planning, securing, and operating 22 Super Bowls, most recently Super Bowl 50 right here in Levi Stadium. Like me, the people that chose to come here tonight take great pride in their roles at Levi Stadium. These men and women are the heartbeat of this building. They're the best in the business. They're professional. They're people with families, kids, wives, husbands, significant others. They work their tails off for you. They work their tails off on behalf of the Stadium Authority. And yet, time and time again, all too often, what they hear are seemingly subjected to snippets of nastiness from the dais and the newspaper and on TV. Blatantly inaccurate statements and allegations seemingly for political gain, with no regard for the people who work so hard on your behalf, is reckless. You're better than that. We are better than that. I hope. As leaders, we need to be smart enough and compassionate enough to know that our words, and more so our actions, really matter. These people here tonight matter. And I stand proudly with them. Let's temper the rhetoric. Let's get back to work, because we should be proud of what we've accomplished here in Santa Clara. What you need to remember is, though you think you need to take this action, you don't. It's something that you want to do, and you don't need to. We've already told you we've cooperated. We will continue to cooperate. Your own auditor just said, or your own consultant just said, that we'll be here to cooperate. And for the timeline, Councilmember Davis, you need to look at the time, and you got to be
Mr.
realistic
Mercurio.
with respect to the amount of time that we've provided.
Thank you. If I could call Vince Soto up, please, to line up. Vince Soto. Mr. Atlas?
Thank you. My name is Ted Atlas. I'm one of the only people in the room who's been with the 49ers in a capacity longer than Jim, and he's a hard man to follow, but a great man to work for. I worked game day for them since 1986. I'm a retired sheriff's sergeant in this county. I used to look at Santa Clara. Let's face it, the county of Santa Clara is one of the worst-run governments in this area, with the exception of Mr. Durandon's father when he was there. I used to look at Santa Clara and thought, wow, I wish sometimes I could work for them, because they seem to have their act together. As a person who reads the newspaper and obviously has a little bit of an inside knowledge, what I've seen in the last couple years is you took a great thing, one of the best, the sports economists will say you have one of the best deals with any team, stadium, authority, anywhere in the country, a world-class stadium, brought the greatest events to it, they've run well. You did something Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego cannot do, and no one has done in California, and built an NFL stadium specific to a team. No one has ever done that. You did it. And now what I hear is, we have this great partnership, let's trash it. Let's go out to the public, oh, we're going to take the stadium back because we think we can run a stadium. You cannot. Trust me, I worked over 500 events all across the country. You'll be making a huge mistake. You cannot run a stadium. You've got a great team. I'm happy to be part of that, happy to be with these other people. But you really need to dial down the rhetoric. I understand your concerns. I get that. I'm not a resident of Santa Clara, but I get that. But what I hear, and some of the vitriol tonight, I don't see the reason for it. You're like a couple that we got married, and now everything's going to hell, and now we're going to fight over who gets the dog. And that's really what I'm hearing. So I suggest you dial it down, as Jim said, and work together. You've got a great thing going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, here. Excuse me, if you could hold the applause till the end, because I'm trying to get through all the speakers. Please hold your applause to the end. Thank you. Mr. Torres?
Good evening. My name is
Evening.
Manuel Torres, and I'm a Santa Clara homeowner, resident, and alumni of Santa Clara University. Between my family, we have 4 season tickets to the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm actually here today to support the mayor and the Santa Clara residents to insist that the 49ers provide the requested financial documents in accordance with the contracts and Measure J. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jill Brophy and Craig Graber, please. Oh, please come forward if I didn't call your name. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Members of the board, my name is Vince Soto. I am a proud member of the 49er management family, and I'm also a citizen of Santa Clara. For the past few years, we've hosted over 450 private events and 50 major events. We've welcomed over 3 million guests to the city of Santa Clara, and yet you have the audacity to question our credibility. We've sat back for months now as you've used your position as mayor to bully hardworking employees, some of which are here tonight. Your lies and false accusations have hurt and attempt to discredit people who really care about this community, and I'm one of them. You've wasted your time and taxpayers' money on a witch hunt for political agenda and your own personal vendetta. You've dug yourself in such a deep hole with your lies and unsubstantiated allegations that you can't see that there are people here that really truly care about the growth of this city. I understand that you were appointed into your position by your peers instead of being voted in. But you are supposed to be the mayor and leader of this city, so I suggest you start acting like one. If you could take anything away from tonight, let it be this. Leaders don't set out to lead. They set out to make a difference. So I appreciate it if you would stop with all the rhetoric, like Jim said, and be a true leader, not a political one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please, you hold your applause, please. Craig Graber? Oh.
I'm not Craig.
Oh, I know that. Yes, I'm so sorry. Go
That's
ahead,
okay.
please.
Hello, thank you. My name is Jill Brophy, and I also am an employee of Manco. I'm also a Santa Clara County resident. I'm going to give you just a little bit of background. I'm a retired police officer who became, unfortunately, disabled. I was given an opportunity by the 49ers to start a program for guests with disabilities. I don't know if you even know this, but by extension, I represent you as well, because we have a team of 60 people that work at Levi Stadium. This team is state of the art. It is cutting edge. There's not one other sports venue in this whole country that offers what we do to people or our guests with disabilities. Why I'm saying this is because all I see is, again, the rhetoric and the vitriol of it. But what's the most important part is that Manco, when I hear you talk about it, Mayor, and obviously I have to say your tone changed. I was back there listening and I was trying to be objective, but the minute we started to talk about Stadium Co., your tone changed. I would challenge you to go listen after and watch yourself. But let me just finish with this, that we are people. Manco is not just some objective thing that you don't know. I'm Jill. I work for Manco. All these people work for Manco. I take great, great pride in the services that we offer. And when my mom calls me and says, "What's going on down there? Are you guys not paying your bills?" It hurts my heart. There's not one person behind me that's going to talk tonight that's not going to say that, of how painful it is when I see that. So I'm asking you, like my little niece says, turn it down a notch. Let's be professional and think about our faces the next time you make a comment to the media, and it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Craig Graber, and if Dominic Roja and Kieran Nolte please line up. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Craig Graber, and I'm the proud director of Stadium and Event Operations for the 49ers Stadium Management Company. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I've been associated with the San Francisco 49ers for many years, first as a vendor and then hired to help open and manage the facility and events at Levi's Stadium, the most successful public-private partnership in sports. I am honored to be working for the 49ers Stadium Management Company and excited that I am a representative of the Santa Clara Stadium Authority for non-NFL events, a task that I take very seriously. Over the past 3.5 years, I have worked countless hours per day, weeks without days off, and taken time away from my wife and 3 children. I have missed birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, and other family events to help manage and build the events at Levi Stadium. My family understood the importance of my job and so supported me through all the hours away because they believe in a strong work ethic that helps promote jobs and future stability for the stadium. They believe in the York family, the San Francisco 49ers, the Santa Clara Stadium Authority, but most of all, they believed in me. Now their belief is questioned because of Mayor Gilmore's desire to have a brief 15-second soundbite in local news or misleading quote in the paper for a personal political gain. What do I say to my wife and children when they ask, are you losing your job because the mayor says she's ready to take over the stadium? What do I say to my staff when they ask if they begin to look for new jobs because they've heard the same? What do I say to our collective clients? Mayor Gilmore, I am so proud of the people here, the management company and the men and women of the 49ers Stadium Management Company who have worked tirelessly to host 55 major events, have brought 3 million guests to Santa Clara, and hosted 450 private events and generated $11 million in net income over the first 2 years of stadium operations. Thank you for your time, but it's time to put away political agendas aside, repair our partnership, and stop threatening my home and work family's livelihood.
Thank you, sir. If you could please hold your applause, and if Nelson Ferguera could please also line up. Welcome.
Well, members of the board, my name is Dominic Roja. I am an extremely proud employee of our 49ers Management Company. I wish I were here to say thank you for all your help and support and for acknowledging all the time and hard work my company has spent making Santa Clara an entertainment destination. I even wish I could say I feel appreciated by all of you for the thousands upon thousands of hours and dollars I have spent in the city over the past 3 years. But there is a genuine anger building inside of me. No longer can I sit on the playground and watch as the school bully takes advantage of my friends. I'm here today for all my friends who aren't afforded the ability to voice their pain. It isn't fair, and I wish you'd stop. You aren't shining the proper light on us, the city of Santa Clara, or the Stadium Authority. So yes, our names have been slandered, our credibility has been questioned, our hard work neglected. But this will not be the last time we get knocked down. Just know that we will continue to get up and dust ourselves off because the ground is no place for a champion.
Thank you. Kieran, and then if Nelson, and then Sean Rain, if you'd please line up. Welcome.
Thank you. Members of the board, my name is Kieran Nolte, and I'm a proud employee of the 49ers Stadium Management Company. Earlier, you suggested that we don't represent anyone but ourselves. On the contrary, as the Director of Guest Services for Manco, it is my pleasure to manage and to here represent a team of 800 people, each one working tirelessly to host events that draw the eyes of the world to Santa Clara, and each one committed to representing Santa Clara with high standards of professionalism and class. Among this exceptional group of professionals are dozens of Santa Clara residents, hardworking people whose jobs are now being threatened by the very officials they elected to protect them. The terrific members of our guest services team are united by core values like service, character, and teamwork. Unfortunately, I don't see these qualities in the recent behavior of some of the members of this board. Does it serve Santa Clara to attack a partnership that has brought millions of dollars, hundreds of jobs to this city? What do so many reckless accusations really say about your character? Why have you abandoned teamwork in favor of a divisive media campaign? Do you feel this is the behavior of someone engaged in, as you put it, a business partnership? Working in football, we are all too familiar with the fact that people like to pick a side. The fans that come to Levi's Stadium enjoy rooting for their team, and they enjoy rooting against the opposition. That's fine. Football is a game, a diversion from the seriousness of life. But from our public officials, we expect more. I urge you to stop the petty politics. Stop intimidating the very people who work so hard to benefit this city, and start following their example instead.
Thank you. Nelson, and then Sean, and then Pat Rogan, please. Welcome.
Good evening, members of the board, City of Santa Clara citizens. My name is Nelson Ferreira. I'm the Director of Technical Operations at the 49ers Stadium Management Company. I've been working with this team since June of 2014. It's been an absolute honor to successfully produce and be part of such events as Super Bowl 50, WrestleMania, 15-plus concerts, the Pac-12 Championship, and hundreds of special events. It's been an honor because of the people that I work with. The team that stands behind me and behind Levi Stadium have given their lives, countless hours away from their families, their blood, their sweat, and tears. The fact that we have accomplished in less than 3 years is nothing short of miraculous. In fact, we've excelled in every possible facet and discipline of venue management. We were the 2015 Venue of the Year, we're LEED certified, and those are just a couple of honors we've had. So I'm standing here tonight to address the statements of Mayor Gilmore to the media, in which I think may have happened in a moment of duress. What's really frustrating is that comments and statements are often taken out of context and misinterpreted. Communication with the press and media needs to be handled responsibly. Reading the articles, you'd think that stadium management is in jeopardy, but that's not the case, not even close. Mayor Gilmore, your experience in these matters, there's ebbs and there's flows. You had an opportunity to partner with this organization who has worked so hard and brought so much opportunity to Santa Clara, but instead you throw us under the bus. This is still a young relationship, and my suggestion is that as a mayor, you should be proud to have this organization in Santa Clara and what it brings to this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sean, Pat Rogan, and then Guillermo Hernandez, please. Welcome.
Welcome. Hello, my name is Sean Ram. I'm a senior manager of stadium operations for 49ers management company. Horrible at speaking like this, but in the recent, I've been reading your articles and TV media about your slander towards the stadium, and I represent my team, which is all the red in the back, and they constantly ask me, like, are we going to lose our jobs? You know, what's going to happen? I think it's probably the worst mistake if you do decide that. I hope not. But we are the best in the business. You can vouch that with any stadium and around the world. No one compare. And, you know, you're more than welcome to come see us, work with us one day, and see how great our team is. Anyone is invited. And you'll see what great people that you're saying terrible things about that are affecting their daily lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come forward. Pat?
Pat Rogan, Director of Engineering Operations for the Manco at Levi Stadium. I'd like to start out by saying I believe I work for a first-class organization that has been involved with the planning, building, and operating of an NFL super stadium unlike any building in the country. I have been doing this for a living for 35 years in Class 1A high-rise office buildings and the best of the best stadiums. I've been chief engineer at 525 Market, 303 2nd Street, 2 1 million square foot high-rises in San Francisco, director of engineering at both AT&T Park and currently at Levi's Stadium. I was brought on board both places to assist in design, build, and operation of all the mechanical systems. When I met Jim Mercurio several years ago, I consulted on a new stadium design when it was going to be built in Candlestick, but the city of San Francisco couldn't get it right. 49ers looked to relocate to Santa Clara through a get out the vote that was very successful, including members of your board that worked on it. I mentioned to Jim at the time to call me when they were getting ready to stick a shovel in the ground, and fortunately he called me a year prior to that to assist the organization as well as Jim in building a world-class engineering team that would be ready to go on day one. For 3 years now, we have worked our tails off to facilitate this building as a first-class award-winning Stadium, including LEED Gold twice, the Actera Award, Sports Business Award, Green Sports Alliance, National Water Reuse. Currently, we run over 60 million gallons of recycled water through the stadium. Santa Clara Water Conservation, several other awesome environmental entertainment awards, too numerous to mention. Our team has put together the most safety-related comprehensive plans for operations, maintenance, repairs, budgets, planning, security, logistics, traffic, events, concerts, and all the other facets in operating an extreme stadium. Now we have to spend a considerable amount of time explaining to our families, friends, vendors, customers, and strangers that we may be getting replaced in our positions here at Levi Stadium. When I came on board for the long haul and planned to stay here, where I've given all on a daily basis every time I step through the door and wonder where this is all going. The organization treats all of their employees great, and we treat all of our customers the same. I've never been in a better company in my place of employment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Julian Sakti, Bern Garcia, if you could line up, please, and Alicia Pratt. Welcome.
Members of the board, my name is Guillermo Hernandez. I'm a proud employee of Levi Stadium Management Company. All I really got to say is the slanderous and rhetoric comments you have made towards our management company are not only disrespectful, but they discredit the integrity that we hold ourselves as an entire team. The city has no problem cashing in the revenue checks that are made solely off our back and the hard work from every member and staff that sits behind me tonight. Our stadium is one of the best stadiums in the world, not just the country, so we hold ourselves to a very high standard. You threaten us to remove our jobs. Ms. Mayor, your job is to run the city, not to run a stadium. Let you do your job, let the pros handle the stadium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bern Garcia, Alicia Pratt, and then Conrad Harter, please. Welcome.
Hey, Mayor. My name is Julian Sakti with Stadium Ops, proud to be part of 49ers Manco. In my role, I've had the privilege to work with many Santa Clara entities, including your police department, fire department, traffic engineers, and civil engineers. In all honesty, I consider that some of the best in the business, hands down. But contrary to what you say to the media, every chance you get, it seems, I can say that all the people standing in this room are some of the best in the business as well. That's how you get the numerous accolades Levi Stadium has received. Just Google them if you have the time. These are the workers who get, so Stadium Ops and Manco are represented here today. These are the people who make the stadium work, my guys, the red in the back. They move cones, barricades, K-rails, garbage cans, porta potties, you name it. They do all that work on the ground. These are the workers who get cursed at and treated terribly while closing the street for concerts and other events so the city can collect millions of dollars in revenue. These are the workers who burn the midnight oil for you, Mayor, and the city, only to wake up and read in the paper about how you're threatening our jobs, along with all the other negative comments. Now, I get it. The David and Goliath story is a great platform for political grandstanding. I've always rooted for the little guy myself. But in this instance, I feel you're the bully, and we're the little guys. The threats and comments you have made are not motivating. They hurt the morale of the people who work their butts off for you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please come forward.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me be heard this evening. My name is Bernadette Garcia. I've been working with the 49ers for over 17 years under Jim Mercurio. I moved to Santa Clara in the beginning of the 49ers inaugural season. I really have to say that I enjoy living in this community. It's a beautiful place to live. But recently, because you have chosen to say things that are untrue and unfounded about Levi Stadium, you have made me see the ugliness that you have created in the city. Your words are hurtful, and I personally feel that you have disrespected me as a hardworking citizen and a resident of Santa Clara. You only care what's best for you, not what's best for the community that you're supposed to lead. I am angry that you're willing to jeopardize people's jobs because you can't get your way. Do you even know how to run a stadium? Have you been to the stadium to see all the employees working together to make the stadium run as smoothly as possible? As I see it, based on your words to the media, you don't care one bit about the happiness of the fans that come to our game to enjoy the best football venue in America. You only care about yourself, and as I said, I'm very angry and part of me still is. But now I just feel sadness for you because you're unable to see the true beauty of the city and of Levi Stadium. Mayor, you have bullied not only your residents, but the people that generate multi-million dollars for your city. The definition of a bully is a blustering, quarrelsome, overbearing person who habitually badgers and intimidates smaller and weaker people. You are a bully in every sense of that definition. That, Mayor, is you, the very thing that American people are trying to rid of.
Thank you for coming.
Dear Mayor Gilmore and council team, thank you for allowing us to be here today. My name is Alicia Pratt, and I'm an employee of Levi Stadium. I work for this dream of Levi Stadium. I worked through planning. I worked endless hours. Everybody in this complete room can see me running around. We've been here since before September of 2013, when the building was still rubble and ruins, where we physically could walk through walls. I grew passion, love, and gratitude towards the building of Levi Stadium in support of SCSA and STADCO as well as MANCO. During the endless hours and efforts to complete the Joan of Arc of this building that we call our home. Day in and day out, as Nelson said, we put in blood, sweat, and tears. I know that you're not happy with us right now, and that's okay. We're here to make things right. Even if we know we're okay, we're there. The place, thinking that, we're working on a day-to-day basis, thinking there was something worth valuing, thinking people were appreciating everything we do, thinking we were being supported to the city through the building, just to find out to think that we were shorting SCSA and individuals of Santa Clara only. The people that sat before you are the lifeline, the heartbeat, the population that makes the community of Levi Stadium and Santa Clara thrive daily on support and on behalf of you guys. The opinions you voiced has affected each and every one of us in this room, through the media, the newspapers, the internet, through any channels of communication that we've collectively heard from our family members and individually. I'm frustrated that it is so easy for you to make blanket statements that affects all these groups of people here behind me, that help support your vision, your strategic advantage, and the better outcome of your community overall for the city of Santa Clara. The shame that you have placed on us, that tarnished us, on our company due to the word choice and your opinions, that speaks untrue. Just like Dom said, we're champions, we'll get back up. The relationship that we, Levi Stadium and the 49ers Management Company, provides and thrives day in and day out are immeasurable compared to the facilities throughout the nation and even internationally. I put faith in us, the 49ers management team, that you will never, ever find a group and a management company and another team collectively that can execute daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly on stadium operations and facility management as I sit in front of you. And with that, I ask you, please let us help you as you are a part of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Bern Garcia, Bob Ford, Eric Jensen. Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Conrad Harder. I'm a proud employee of the 49ers Stadium Management Company. I'm also a former Marine and a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom. I've not worked for Levi Stadium for terribly long, but there are two things that I have noticed in my time there that are in contrast to many of the other places I have worked. Number one is the professionalism of the team at Levi Stadium. The time and energy they put in, the sheer effort expended, and the attention to detail demonstrated both by management and by all employees, trying to make sure that all stadium goers and event attendees have a top-notch and positive experience in their time at Levi Stadium. Second thing that I've noticed is the sense of teamwork, camaraderie, or even family. The way that management treats their employees, the way that employees treat each other is, in my experience, fairly unusual. There are a number of the young men in red shirts against the back wall who are students at local community colleges and universities. The management at Levi Stadium has been exceedingly generous and understanding when working around their schedules, their class schedules, making sure that while they could do what they can to support themselves, they can also get their own education. I cannot imagine an organization of management and employees together who could actually do a better job running the stadium than these fine men and women behind me. And to do so, to suggest otherwise, to disparage the work that they have done is a disservice to both them and to the city of Santa Clara. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come forward. And then I have Eric Jensen, Azam Javed, Joseph Hernandez. Please line up.
And I'm Bob Ford. Good evening, Mayor, board members.
Thank you.
To start off with, I don't care about the comments, Ms. Mayor, that you said regarding this, the 49ers Stadium Management Company. I've worked with the 49ers since 2000, I've worked for them since 2000, with them since, for the last 3 years. I was a retired police officer also from San Francisco and took a job down here. I've never heard a disparaging comment from any of the workers that work there. I've seen Jim Mercurio go to the janitor and greet him. I've seen him give the same greetings to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Never a nary bad, poor word was ever spoken. This Manco family is just that. It's a very tight-knit family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Eric Jensen, Azam Javed, Joseph Hernandez. Welcome.
Hi, Mayor. This is Eric Jensen. Excuse me, Eric Jensen. I'm a resident of Santa Clara. I appreciate you bringing this up. I know you're getting a lot of flack tonight, but as a resident, I figure my family's share of the stadium debt is about $50,000, maybe more, because we don't really know the details of the loan, the cost of the money, when it's due, interest rate. At least I can't find it anywhere. I'd really like to know. And I appreciate you bringing this up so we can find out that information. It should be clear to us tonight that the operation of the stadium is incompatible with a public entity like the city. And if we find it's not working out for us, perhaps we should consider letting the Niners take the whole thing, let them take over the entire stadium, let them pay the debt, let them have the whole thing. We shouldn't be in this business. It's incompatible to have private enterprise and public entities working like this. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Please come forward. Joseph Hernandez, Hamza Berry, Howard Gibbons, and then Megan Schreiner, please. Yes, welcome.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing me the time. My name is Joseph Hernandez. I'm going to throw a twist at you. I'm not an employee of the entities that have been mentioned here tonight. Don't work for you. I'm not a Niner fan, as you can tell.
What's that team? What? Oh, okay.
Oakland Raiders. May I repeat myself? Because it seems like many things need to be repeated tonight. Oakland Raiders. I'm here to support your request from the organization known as the 49ers. I'm here to support the 49ers in providing those requests to the city and residents of Santa Clara, such as myself. I'm a father, a resident, a worker, student, a mentor, a learner, a coach, a listener. Call me Jack if you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. I almost missed my dinner for this meeting. Fortunately, I did make it here tonight because some things are pressing on my mind. The youth, the children, things that happened prior to people knocking on my door asking whether or not we wanted a stadium here some years ago. When my door was knocked on, I asked, what are you doing about these kids? Because we were going through some layoffs with teachers, music, art, gardening, sports. The list can go on. I don't have that much time. I don't have all the facts as what you did about it, but I do have some facts about what the 49ers organization is doing about it. I represent over 500 companies throughout the valley. I'm a resident. The person that I am employed by is here in Santa Clara. Graffiti that I'm trying to remove from my neighborhood, I haven't got an answer back as I've called several times the offices of the city. the 49ers are locking arms with me right now. Litter, Santa Masaquino, Calabasas Creek, the heart of this room. I would hope that you would listen tonight. God bless you. Good night.
Thank you very much. Howard, please come forward.
Council, we're talking about my neighborhood again.
Always.
And I know. Of course, I do support the stadium and all the low-level employees who go out there and work in the miserable conditions. But I hear some really nasty language. And Mayor Gilmore knows me for a long time when Jerry used to sit in that seat. You know, he's gone for a reason, and it's not good. And I hope everybody realizes that this council is watching out for the city and only has the city in mind and not an organization. And I hope they all can come together, bring you the information that you want, because every year I have to give the city the information I want, or I have some people do some mean things to me too, like pull my permit. So I give the city everything you want on time, otherwise I'm out of work. So I hear a lot of mean stuff though, and they don't know you. I've been here. I hear a lot of the stuff going on. It just seems like there's a breakdown between the two of getting the right information at the right time. And really, I know I'm just a little tiny hot dog stand. I'm a one-man operation, but the city demands my paperwork to them on time, or I don't get to sell a hot dog, and then you guys won't have nobody come to and get a hot dog from. But I don't know what to tell these guys. I love them all. They support me in my business. I hope they all can come together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, please come forward. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hamza, and I'm a resident of Santa Clara. And having heard both sides of the story, I have to say I support you, Mayor, on the decision to ask the 49ers and the management company to provide the financial documents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. This is Megan. Yes, please come forward. And then Tony Vroman and Jesse Lovejoy, please line up. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Megan Schreiner, and I'm a proud employee of the 49ers Stadium Management Company. The rhetoric in the news and the media recently has been extremely disheartening. I work with an incredible group of people, which behind me does not include all of them. I work with our season ticket holders and personally feel as though I am an extension of the city of Santa Clara, as I've made thousands of phone calls and spent thousands of hours on the phone collecting money for the city of Santa Clara. So I really hope that the rhetoric can move to a conversation of teamwork and we can move past all this negativity.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Tony Vroman, Jesse Lovejoy, and then Ruben Garcia, please. Welcome.
Clock.
Oh. We lost the clerk. Sorry about that. All right. Okay, reset. There you go. There you go. 2-minute warning.
Yeah, I just hope I can fill all 2
Please
minutes.
don't leave. Okay.
Members of the board, my name is Tony Vroman, and I'm a proud employee of the 49ers Stadium Management Company. I appreciate you taking the time to listen and hear all of us tonight. I spent the last 3+ years working for Levi Stadium. Through many countless hours and overextended efforts, my colleagues and I have successfully executed nearly 30 large-scale events on behalf of the city of Santa Clara. I emphasize successful because that's what we've done since the inception of Levi Stadium. By any measuring stick, those events have been graded with nearly the highest level of success. In fact, there has been more than one occasion where national publications have recognized and agreed. The Sports Business Journal, as mentioned, has awarded us the Stadium of the Year.
We've been deemed LEED Gold certification for sustainability upon opening and operation. Almost more importantly, the White House has recognized the City of Santa Clara and Levi Stadium as the model for public-private partnership. What a sham that award appears to be after these recent comments. Unfortunately, Mayor Gilmore, the reputation of Levi Stadium is now in jeopardy because of your unfair and unjustified comments. For months, I've had to listen and read in not only the local news outlets, but national ones citing your comments about the management of this building. That's my colleagues and me you are commenting on, me specifically, and all of my other colleagues. It hurts me to give so much to a venue and a city with the feeling of those false accusations. I've flown over 4,000 miles in one day to attend the funeral of my grandmother, to be back the next day to execute an event for Levi Stadium. I've sacrificed holidays and important family functions because I felt the biggest priority was the family at Levi Stadium. That's the message Jim Mercurio has given me since day one. It's a part of the family, and everybody here believes that. I feel like this leader of our city has zero regard or remorse for those feelings. You wanted the stadium here at one time, Mayor Gilmore. In fact, you did vote for it. I ask you to please understand the full effects of what you're saying and doing in the media. I could say a lot more probably in these 2 minutes, but unfortunately that's all I'm allotted. If only your comments would be limited to that time frame. I expect you to probably choose them more carefully.
Thank you for coming. And then Logan Irons, Sam Sugarman, and Thomas Cohn. If you could please line up. Welcome, sir.
Hello, I'm Mayor Gilmore, council members. My name is Jesse Lovejoy. I am the director of the STEM education program at Levi Stadium and also the museum there. I actually came and presented to council on May 6, 2014. I looked at the date on my computer before I came over here tonight. I remember sitting here and looking at the energy in the room from the then mayor and from the council members, and the feeling of togetherness that was here for the project that we were creating. And after that presentation, where I explained that we would, by the end of the 16-17 school year, serve more than 4,000 kids from this school district in this city, I remember the response that I got from council members and the energy from the people that were in the room. And I remember leaving and being so proud that I called my parents and said, hey, look, I talked to city council today. I talked about this great thing. I'd never done it before. And then all this stuff started to happen. And I remember having such a vastly different feeling about who we're dealing with and reading these things and talking to my team members and having this sense of being undercut for absolutely no reason, you know, and so I did what I usually do in these situations, and I called my dad on the way here tonight, and I told him, I said, hey, Dad, guess where I'm going? And he goes, where are you going? I go, I'm going back to city council. He goes, what are you talking about tonight? I said, well, why don't you read the paper tomorrow, and you'll probably understand it. Good for him. He's a Santa Cruz liberal that just buries his head in the ocean in a newspaper and doesn't really read much else. And I said, we actually have to go and speak to council about the idea that they might potentially take back the management of the stadium. And he goes, well, what more could they possibly want from you guys? And I asked myself that question, and I really went, I have no idea. I mean, I can't imagine what more this entire room could do to better serve you all, the citizens of Santa Clara, the citizens of the Bay Area at large, and everybody that looks to the 49ers and to this city as leaders. So please reconsider the way that you're handling this situation.
Thank you very much. All right. Please come forward.
Pardon the nerves. This is my first time speaking
No,
in
it's
front of the
okay.
city council.
Take your time.
My name is Logan Irons. I am the manager of the stadium logistics department at Levi Stadium. All the guys in the red shirt you see back there, that's just a part of my team. I've got a team of 70 people, and we have a checklist of about 375 things we have to do from the security perimeter onto the inside of the building on game day in a 4-hour time period to make sure that we're ready to go for everything we're going to do. When we have a concert, it takes about 4 days, countless hours, for us to get everything ready to execute the events that are bringing money into this city. This team represents a vast swath of America, multicultural, different educational backgrounds from different areas. We've got military veterans. We've got a young man getting ready to go off to basic. We've got college graduates. We have college students that are here in Santa Clara. These guys represent tens of thousands of hours that have gone into executing successful events that have brought money into the city. And in just one simple, small statement to score political points, you undercut every single minute of those tens of thousands of hours. To hear that in the media, that their job may be replaced after everything that they've done, working Thanksgiving, working New Year's Day, working Christmas Eve, literally working around the clock. We have staff there right now, staffing an event that's going on. It's hurtful. It makes them unsure about their future. And it was all done simply just to get a soundbite out there. Please reconsider the way you're going about this. Please reconsider the faces and the people that have spoken tonight that represent the people that you're trying to take food off of their table. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thomas Cohn, Andrew Reading, Conrad Harder. Welcome.
Thank you. Members of the board, my name is Samuel Sugarman, and I'm a proud member of the San Francisco 49ers Management Company family. Mayor Gilmore, your incendiary and inflammatory remarks are at best irresponsible and at worst completely heartless in an attempt at my livelihood and the livelihoods of my friends and coworkers back here. We are not pawns that can be used in a political scheme. We are people with families, people with friends. I want you to look at this room and look at the faces of this company. We are human beings. This hollow threat, however, is not something that we will take lying down. I'm repulsed you would come out and make such a threat without even a second thought as to the ramifications and direct effect it would have on the 300 plus employees that call this place home. You would not have voted in favor of this stadium if you had any reservations that it was anything other than an asset to the city. I could go on, and you've heard about the millions of dollars and the millions of people that have come through the stadium doors. But the real passion here are the countless hours that people have put in that Logan talked about. These are all hard numbers. But the benefit of the company doesn't stop with hard numbers. In the 2+ years since the stadium has opened, we have welcomed so many citizens that have never set foot here before. We've offered everything from football games, soccer matches, Beyonce, One Direction concerts, board meetings for Fortune 500 companies, and foreign delegations. And you know what made every single one of them successful? It was the tireless work and effort of every single person in this room. The stadium is an asset to you, the city, but the people in this room are an even bigger one. And it hurts me that you sit there and insinuate that we are simply expendable in your eyes. Now, I could stand up here and continue to talk about how your device rhetoric does nothing but to drive a wedge between the city and the 49ers. But we're at a crossroads, Mayor Gilmore. Either we continue this battle of veiled threats and political bantering through the media, or we can act as adults and we can work through this together. This is an opportunity to stand above the political mess and say definitively that you stand by this organization, your organization, and you will work with us to help create the greatest sports and entertainment venue in this world. Or you can keep walking down the same path and continue to treat employees who work tirelessly at Levi Stadium as nothing more than pawns in a political chess match. The choice is yours. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thomas Cohn, Andrew Reading, Conrad Harder, and Ruben Garcia. Welcome.
Well, yeah, I'm Tom Caney is how you pronounce my last name. I'm
Sorry about that, Mr.
proud member of the logistics team for Levi Stadium. I've worked at a lot of stadiums, worked in 4 of the biggest in the United States. I got to say one thing, that I'm only here to back Big Jim up. I would go to hell and kick the devil out for him.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to clap on that one. That was a good one. Okay, welcome, sir.
Hello. Can I get a restart on the play clock, please?
Oh, yeah.
Thank
City
you.
Clerk, 2 minutes, 2-minute warning. Okay, go.
Hey, hello. I'm Andrew Reading. For the last decade, I've worked in stadiums all across the Bay Area, all the way ranging from Berkeley to San Jose State. I do not work with these guys. I work for them. I work for them over and over again. They're great people. They break their back. They're there more than we are. And, you know, just to hear the stuff that's going on, it just doesn't seem right. I just wanted to say something for them. I appreciate you guys. And I go to hell and back for you, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Conrad Harder, Ruben Garcia, Eve. Oh, Conrad did it already? Okay. Michelle Ryan, Burt Field, Vince Lucero. Oh, sorry. Hello. Is this Eve?
There is.
Oh, hi, Eve.
It is past
Welcome.
my child's bedtime. So I want to make this quick. You said when you were appointed by your peers that you would collectively forge a relationship with the organization. It is today, whatever date of November, and clearly that has not happened. I hope you stand by your words. As a mother, you and myself, we have to set an example, not be the example. So I know you cannot run a stadium whatsoever because the bathroom, let alone here, does not even have a baby changing station. So please start with that. Please start with that.
I agree with you on that completely, yeah.
I hope to see some action done there as
City
well.
manager, baby changing station is
So
needed.
with that being
Yes.
said, thank you, Isaiah, you too. You tell them. What you don't realize is that your comments now begs the question, as a mom, you're going to take away basically the bread and butter for the food that I bring to my child. And what you don't understand also, the people all behind me, they're not just coworkers. It's a family. I spend more time with these people than my own family because we work so hard to put events on. So a first-timer, a 50-timer person who's been to the stadium has an excellent, successful time there. So I would hope and appreciate you stop with the rhetoric. Let us do our job. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bert Field, welcome, Bert.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, board, city council members. Once again, I'm very disappointed to be here tonight. Our city has so much potential to do great things. And many years ago, when we got together and got the stadium down here, got it approved, both you and I, Lisa, were very much for the stadium. In fact, I still am for the stadium. The cover measure Jay I've mentioned is my wife and my son on the cover promoting that measure. And it's really disheartening we're here tonight talking about the stadium. We could have a relationship with the 49ers that could end all relationships across the country. They're our neighbors. Their shadow falls on our soccer fields. We could work together very well. However, once again, we're here. I feel so bad that 90% of the room tonight is filled with hardworking people that are now brought into this subject. It has nothing to do with them. Absolutely nothing to do with them. This is a business relationship. If they would comply with the city in a timely fashion, this meeting never would have been called. I could have had dinner tonight. I could have had a more enjoyable evening. But I'm here tonight as a Santa Clara resident saying, please continue doing what you're doing. Do it to the 9th degree. Do it to the 10th degree. Get these facts out. So when they come and try to renegotiate their rent, we know exactly what the cost of doing business is. Plain and simple. This is not an emotional thing. And again, I feel sorry for the 90% of the people in the room who right now, I think, do work their tail off. They're some of the hardest working people in our city. Yeah. And you know what? I do respect them. This has nothing to do with them. It probably has more to do with maybe 3-4 people who are not even here tonight. Get them here, get them to the table, get the documents, get the facts, then we'll talk about renegotiating the rent. Good night.
Thank you. Michelle Ryan.
Hi. My name is Michelle Ryan, and I'm here this evening speaking as a private citizen. It's hard for me to believe that I've been advocating for nearly 10 years on this stadium issue. And while I know all of you sitting up there advocated for this public subsidy for a private corporation, I'm glad to see that at least 4 of you are now trying to stand up for the city's interests. I remember back in 2007 when I asked why the 49ers did not build the stadium with their own money. The response I received from Jed York himself was that the 49ers were not in the stadium business. My reply to that comment was that the city of Santa Clara was also not in the stadium business, nor should it be. So it's a little puzzling to me now that it seems like the 49ers are in the stadium business, but they only want to be in that business with somebody else's stadium. And it's not clear to me that why we gave the stadium operation contract to an entity that told us that they did not want to be in this business. But that's done, at least for now. And while I get that the 49ers would like to keep some financial information private, the problem is you do not get that privilege when you're operating a publicly owned facility. But there's some easy fixes. The 49ers could buy the stadium for us and then operate it privately like they seem to want to. Or they could voluntarily step aside from managing the stadium and let the city hire an entity that is in the stadium business and wants to be. There will be jobs running the stadium no matter who is managing it. There will be jobs there. And so I agree that The idea that there are not going to be jobs there is ridiculous. There will be jobs there. But I have to say the concern about the secrecy of documents certainly looks like there is something to hide. And I am sad tonight that the 49ers are playing the same tricks they did in the lead up to the stadium. There will be jobs at the stadium no matter who is running it. But if the current management cannot provide us with the accountability that we need as a publicly owned stadium, we need to have a management company that will. Thank you.
Thank you. Vince Lucero and then Edward Strine. Welcome.
Good evening. Vincent Lucero. I'm a resident and native Santa Claran, and I voted for the stadium. I wanted to address Councilman Caserta. He had a question, and you were talking about the delivery of documents to the stadium audit committee. I've attended every audit committee meeting. I've attended as a concerned citizen. My interest solely lied in the general fund resources that were being used towards stadium operations. And I went because I know for a fact that general fund resources, pre, post, and during events were used at that stadium. And that's why I called the auditor to inform them. But what I quickly learned during those meetings was that there's two parts to it. There's general fund resources being used, and there's the contracts. There's the stadium agreement, there's the budget stuff that's going on. And I think it's great that everybody's turned out here tonight. They have a great interest. It's good you came out. And it wasn't a rush to judgment. It wasn't a rush to get here to these meetings. At those audit committee meetings, there was questions asked of the auditor at each meeting about the documents and had the documents been delivered. And each time, the simple way to put it was, there was just roadblocks, it seemed, that were being put up and delays in getting the documents. So it can be simplified, and this was a decision that was made by the 3 council members who sit on that ad hoc committee to bring it here, not just by the mayor. And it would probably be a lot simpler if Mr. Mercurio and the 49ers attorney would come, or anybody else of the management, to those meetings. Those are really important. All of you that are here, come to those meetings too. You'll get a lot of information and really find out what the crux of why we're here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, come forward.
Yeah, my name is Edward Strine. I live in the city of Santa Clara. I'm a native of San Francisco, born and raised a Giants fan, Niners fan for years. I volunteered along with Kathy, go door to door for months to get the stadium. And then after that happened, it seemed like the York family turned on us. The soccer field, first of all, what happened over there where we're supposed to get a similar soccer field to the one that's there now, that didn't happen. Another thing, the Joe Montana Hotel Restaurant, Montana wanted it open for the grand opening of the stadium, didn't happen. He wanted it open for Super Bowl 50. It didn't happen. You know, why was there a delay? Was it the York family that put a stop to it? Then, of course, Tasman Drive, just east of Levi Stadium. People are walking along the street, on the street of Tasman Drive with metal barricades right now. I've seen speeding drivers after leaving the game, and it only takes one drunk driver to crash through those metal barricades to do some serious damage. Why hasn't that been corrected? Why hasn't the southeast corner of the stadium been opened up for the people that take the train, Amtrak train, at that depot off of Tasman and Great America, Tasman and Lafayette? So I just wanted to say that I'd like to know why Jed York, is he coming here to speak? Is it just the people that work for Jed York that's here? Why isn't Jed York here to defend himself? Has he sent these people to defend him and his family for what's happened? Yeah, I'd like to know about that too. I've had the door slammed on my face, going door to door to get this stadium passed, and it really leaves a bad taste in my mouth what's happened. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Craig Larson, Kurt Vartan. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Gilmore and City Council. A number of outlets have asked, was this money for the audit being spent wisely? Was it something that was really necessary or not? And at the very beginning, I was wondering, is this a witch hunt? we're really going to get in return enough money to pay for the audit, which is several $100,000 of cost. And I wasn't privy to the details of what the audit committee was finding. However, I did attend a meeting last week, and when I look at what the paper that probably 99% of people in this room haven't even bothered to read the audit reports, any of their reports, you find out some things that just blow my mind when you understand that when the turf was replaced 6 or 7 times during the first year, that cost was pushed over to the non-NFL side of the ledger. Astounding. So, if that was just the first year, and we have similar events like that, at about $100,000, a turf replacement was my understanding via the media, that pays for the audit all by itself. Furthermore, if you read into the audit findings, it says here, quote, non-NFL event revenue and expense details and records are maintained by Manco and not the Stadium Authority. According to Manco, those records are confidential. So our own Stadium Authority does not have the visibility regarding the vendors, qualifying those vendors that perform services at the stadium. We don't know what they charge, if that is a reasonable and fair amount that the city is not getting by virtue of the revenue that would be returned back to the city, back to the Stadium Authority. We simply don't know. We have asked the Manco for those records to show how is the stadium resources being spent, and here we are tonight. I totally support your request for the audit. All we have to do is simply have Manco turn over those records, stop kicking the can down the road. Let's move on.
Thank you very much. Reginald Swilly and Kurt Vartan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So it's really heartwarming to see how many people are here standing up for what they believe in here in this organization. And it does show a sense of unity and community and family. It's something I think we all should aspire to from any organization. Frankly, it's what I would love to aspire to in my business. But the reality of what's happening here has nothing to do with the people in this room, because the people in this room were never questioned. It's not the practices or the activities that they perform that are being questioned. It's the very, very top of the food chain, if you will, that are making the decisions that the audit committee has issue with. I've been at probably 3 or 4 of the audit committee meetings. Sometimes there's 15 or 20 people there. This last one we had this last week, I think there were 4. If anybody in this room, I would encourage you to attend these meetings. You will learn a lot, and you will hear that the documents being requested are very basic documents. They're basic financial documents that allow the council and the stadium authority to actually understand what is being spent on what. It's not a matter of determining whether you guys are going to have a job. It's a matter of determining where the money's going and how it's being spent so they can make an intelligent decision on how to run this business of the city and the assets inside of it. So from my perspective, from what I've seen from this mayor and this council, they have taken on a very unpopular position in challenging a partner, a close partner, an ally with one of the most expensive assets in this city. And it's got to just put yourself in her shoes for a minute. To be in the crosshairs of a multi-billion-dollar organization, and to have the stamina and the strength and willpower to believe and stand for what she believes in. I believe in what she's done. I've seen her do it, and all I can say is if you don't believe what she's saying, come to these audit committee meetings and you will get the data, because that's where it is.
Thank you. Reverend Swilly, please come forward.
How you doing?
Welcome.
My handwriting is a little better. I have a problem with my hand.
Good, it's pretty good. Yeah.
But my introduction to you and the Stadium Authority was when there was a problem with the civil rights community around the building of this stadium. And what I found, your commitment to doing outreach for small and minority businesses, previously unengaged businesses, was stellar. We went to this stadium, and Jim Mercurio has taken a stand that's different, has not happened anywhere in the United States, that he's going to bring small, outside-of-the-box businesses into contracting opportunities at this stadium. And we've been trying to model this across the country. What you've done has been amazing. What they have done is amazing, that he has built this operation into a family. I heard something here tonight that I don't think another business in this town would say this for their operations. Now, we need to figure out a way for this to continue and not be as big a mess as it is. For these people in this city that's bringing money to this community, business it's a flourishing business for you, for this city. And the nuances, we end up in a spiritual tug of war over a few more dollars. Now, those few more dollars for a city could be very important. For the stadium, it could be very important. But you cannot disrupt the lives of all of these people, missing this one nuance. This is a family of people delivering a service that has been rated higher than anywhere else in the country. This marriage that you guys have done with public-private stadium, nowhere in the country has it worked like this. Now, so it seems like instead of continuing a fight like this, we should be celebrating, we should be mimicking this around the country and figuring out how to fix that little nuance. The same thing that somebody said, families break over and fight over the dog and pay their attorneys millions of dollars fighting over the dog. This is beneath the city. Let's work this out. This family needs to be kept together.
Thank you very much. Welcome. If anyone else would like to speak, please line up if you haven't spoken yet.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name's Tino Silva, and I'm actually thrilled tonight that we have an esteemed reporter from the Santa Clara Weekly who's going to report this. So if anybody doesn't have the chance to watch it online, I'm sure you'll be able to read it in the paper in a week. I want to say that every time I've gone to the stadium, you guys have been nothing but top-notch. And I've been to stadiums throughout the world. I've been to stadiums in Spain and Mexico, all over the world. You guys do a hell of a job, and you should be proud of the job you're doing. But unfortunately, and I think Jim may agree with me, is that he has successfully convinced you that you are going to lose your job because documents have not been submitted that were asked for 2.5 years. How many of you here work in accounting? 1, 2, 3. If you could get those documents tomorrow, would you do it? Go ahead.
Oh, Tino.
Can't do that?
If you could just
sorry.
direct it up here.
My point is, that you've asked for 2.5 years, okay? And Councilman Kolstad said, well, I think this is premature. Well, it's like asking your kid for his report card. Where's your report card? I'll get it to you tomorrow. Where's the report card? I'll get it to you tomorrow. Where's the report card? I'll get it to you next week. Okay, I need the report card. And what do? Finally, you say, if you don't give me the report card, you're going to be grounded for a week. All of a sudden, the report card magically appears. So my question is to Councilman Kolstad, how many more times do we need to act before he would agree to send a formal notice to the Stadium Corporation? When is it time to actually invoke the rights that we signed in that agreement? And when would you propose that we actually put our foot down and do it?
Thank you. Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Liz Kashishin. Forgive me if my voice gives out. I'm not a public speaker. I do feel for the people here, and I appreciate the hard work they've done. However, this does come down to simple contract law. They put in the contract, this is what they were going to provide. They have not provided it, and it appears to be a breach. We've asked multiple times, and we still given a time frame in which they can provide the given information. It's a contract that they signed, so I don't see why they can't. It seems to be a little bit of camouflage for them to bring people forth and to start demonizing things without providing said reports that they agreed clearly in a contract that they were going to provide. Just like I thought it was a little bit ridiculous to receive a one-page budget on the 11th hour before the budget needed to be approved for the stadium. Those things seem to be behaviors that appear to be hiding things. If they are not, they at least give that perception. So I do support following through and seeing what, once they get the documents, seeing what the the auditor and such does, but I do believe that we do need to follow through with some of this.
Thank you.
Love live streaming these things. Hossam Hagag here. So I've been live streaming every stadium audit committee meeting since it started, except for the first one. Since it was during the election, a lot of media were suggesting that it was all political theater. But look behind me tonight. The 49ers and Manco have called in the cavalry. NBC is here, the 49ers' own news crew is here, and the Weekly's favorite city council reporter is here. Wow. There are more 49er fans here than there are at the games. Hundreds of stadium employees are here in their employee apparel. You can't buy a Levi Stadium Logistics t-shirt from the fan store, I can guarantee you that. First off, I want to tell the employees of the 49ers, I'm really, really sorry that they are using you all as pawns for their political games. This is not about taking your jobs away. I'm sorry that you had to take time away from your friends and families tonight to oppose our mayor and council in upholding the law. Measure J is law, that the 49ers are grandstanding and refusing to provide the financial data as required by law and was demanded by our city auditor and was recommended by the civil grand jury. What have they got to hide? So the Niners management felt that they had to drag out their employees here tonight. Well, let me tell you, if the residents had been here for the Moonlight Lanes issue, there would be as many, if not more residents here tonight to support our mayor and council in what they are trying to do. And just as they have called in the cavalry, so have I. When I saw them flooding the hall here at 6:40 p.m., I live streamed the request for residents to come in support of our mayor and council. And as of about 10 minutes ago, my urgent call on Facebook reached 1,851 people. Of course, not everybody can come on a dime's notice, but all the people that you saw came up here and speak today are committed residents. They did come. Imagine if they had known this would happen, how many more hundreds of residents could come out tonight in support of our council and mayor. The message is clear. The city should put them on notice tonight. We have not seen the documents yet. If the city manager has said it was provided, then the 30-day notice that you put out tonight will be met tomorrow and will be done. But as your track record shows, those items aren't going to show up. Follow the contract. The city and the stadium auditor have demanded the 49ers and Manco disclose the financial data as required by law. Having dozens of 49er and stadium employees here in red and gold to oppose our mayor and council and violate law doesn't change a thing. I say no to them and emphatically support our mayor and council in what they are doing. Mayor Gilmore, the residents of Santa Clara support you and stand beside you. You are doing what is right. And just one final comment. There are not quite as many 49er supporters here as there were opponents when Jed York tried to take over our soccer park. And Measure R was put on the ballot to oppose Jed York and protect our open spaces. By voting yes on Measure R, by voting yes...
Okay, enough. Thank you.
Last sentence. By voting yes on Measure R...
Excuse me. Hey, please be respectful. Thank you. I let everybody speak, please. Please. I didn't cut anybody off. Just to be fair, I didn't cut anybody off. I didn't. Just because you disagree with someone, they still have a right to speak. I'm letting everyone speak this evening. No, thank you very much. Thank you. Excuse me. Yes, sir, please.
Mayor and
please.
Council, Scott Sabatino, CFO of the 49ers. And before the evening's over, I hope you would all give Gary Amling, the Director of Finance for the City and Stadium Authority, an opportunity to speak about the documents, reports, not only that he receives annually or quarterly, but on a regular working basis with our staff, both at our office and at your office. I've been at your office and Gary's office more than we've asked people to come to our office. I did want to answer Tino Silva's question. Tino, happy to provide all those documents. Some are available at our office, which we, in detail, time and time again, have explained why. If the gross margins from non-NFL events are made public, you can kiss your $5 million net revenue goodbye. And that's $2.5 million plus to the general fund. That will go away, no question. We are trying to protect you from yourselves. That's the truth. So we've provided everything on this list. We've made everything available. The shared expense budget, as Harry O'Brien referred to, is actually in your March 2016 budget that you approved in March of 2016. There's a ton of detail in the appendix. In the prior years, those have been provided ad nauseum to the Stadium Authority staff, and Gary discusses those at every budget meeting that he presents to you. There's really nothing else to say. I'm just reiterating what Harry and everyone else has said. We provided the documents. We're still awaiting Harvey Rose's dates to come into our office next Tuesday or Wednesday. We've been waiting to hear from him. We welcome having him in. We're going to walk him through non-NFL events line by line, invoice by invoice, as we've done countless times with Gary and his staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is James Summers. I work for the 49ers Stadium Management Company. I'm a proud member of that family. One of our why is we take the extra step to make sure that everybody feels like a part of the 49ers family. That includes Santa Clara. I've never met a group with more integrity. We've held many events. We've had some bumps and bruises with other groups where they have misunderstood some details. And I've seen our team, our leadership bend over backwards to make sure that everyone felt comfortable, welcomed, to right whatever they perceived the wrong was and go beyond what our responsibility was. Such case was the Girl Scouts. We took very good care of the Girl Scouts. There was a date issue, and we took care of them. It was a beautiful sight to see all those young ladies sleeping on the ground there with their tents, playing their games. It was a wonderful time. But that's not it. I've got 3 beautiful daughters, and I'm taking steps to make sure they get a proper education. Somebody said, what about the children, right? So my children go to school in Union City. You know Common Core. We know our sciences. We're behind in our sciences, right? Because we've been teaching from a 96 determinations or qualifications. We said, hey, this is what we got to teach them from 96 standards. Well, here at the 49ers Stadium, there's a vision. You can't do any better than this team here. We've got Jim Mercurio who's been leading management, stadium management for over almost a quarter of a century. We've got visionaries that say, hey, let's have an educational program. Let's have a museum here. We teach NGSS, the New Generation Science Standards, through project-based learning. What about the children? They're coming from the Santa Clara schools, from other Bay Area schools. My oldest daughter hasn't had the opportunity to be taught through the education program. So as a middle schooler, I was inspired in Santa Clara by the many tech conferences over here. And today we get to help inspire the next generation through science, technology, engineering, math, and even art.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Kamal Leksik, and I'm 14 years old, and I live in Santa Clara, and I'm a proud resident. I may not know a lot of things about politics, about the world of adults, but I have one question. Why is the world of big money so secretive? Thank you.
Thank you. I think you know a lot.
Hello, my name is Hannah Gordon, and I'm the General Counsel of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm also a Santa Clara homeowner. I was not going to get up to speak tonight because I felt that as lawyers, we need to keep working with your staff. It wouldn't be appropriate, perhaps, for me to get up and speak, but I was so enraged when I heard somebody get up here and treat our staff in a paternalistic manner to call them pawns. We had to ask people, please stop taking speaker cards because I, for one, desperately need to use the ladies' room. We've been up here for a long time, and that is because people wanted to get up here and speak their minds. And somebody said, there are no executives from here. Scott got up here. Scott's our CFO. I'm our general counsel. Jim Mercurio is the general manager of the stadium. There are a ton of executives here. He said, oh, there's no one here from accounting. And 5 people raised their hands, and there's a whole bunch more of them outside. People came from all around our organization because we feel strongly about this. We know the job we do. I sat in the meetings with Harvey Rose's auditors, so-called auditors and consultants. We offered them the documents. We offered them dates. I can't control when they tell you what we told them. So I would just ask that you treat our people with respect For anyone, I'm sorry, and it wasn't you, it was somebody who came up here and said, your jobs will still be there. No, if you fire a company, their employees' jobs are not there. So I would just ask that the people who get up and speak don't disrespect our staff in that way. When they have chosen to show up here and share their stories, I, for one, was so inspired by people like Jill Brophy and every other person who got up here. They were much better speakers, frankly, than I am as the General Counsel. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Council, my name is Bob Lang. I'm the Vice President of Communications for the team, and I too was not going to speak tonight. But just like Hannah, I've sat by and heard some things that I think are basically misinformation being spewed, and we've seen that for a while. The gentleman who got Hannah all fired up, thank you. Thank you, because you got her up here. And I think we needed to see that tonight. We needed to see the passion that people have for this stadium, for this city. I'm a Santa Clara resident. Kathy is my neighbor. My two kids go to school here, and the gentleman who talked about the political, the theatrics, and the drama that we've seen, and this is not drama, this is reality, this is what family is, okay? We've been seeing that too, and we finally got off our butts and did something about it. We've seen the theatrics on TV whenever there has been an opportunity. I get the calls to respond to the mayor's comments, okay? I'd much rather be home with my two little girls right now, okay? And when they come home to me and they say that the kids they go to school with, go tell them and ask them, your dad works for the 49ers, doesn't he? And they proudly say yes. And they say, well, why is the mayor on TV saying that the 49ers are being mean to the city of Santa Clara, our home? And I have to tell my children that sometimes people aren't always sharing the truth. Thank you.
If anyone else would like to speak, please come forward. Welcome.
Hi there. I got off my couch, or butt, or whatever he just said. I'm a resident of Santa Clara. And I came down here, man, if they put this much effort into this dog and pony show, maybe we'd finally get our paperwork after waiting for it for 2.5 years. You guys have been lied to, whatever they told you to get you down here. All we want is the documents. If somebody gave you a document that says it's going to cost you $10 million, but you don't know what the hell it's for, you'd want to know what it was for. That's all we as Santa Clarans want to know. We're not talking about taking your jobs. If they would give us the documents, that's all we've wanted. Your management is lying to you guys to get you down here or whatever they told you. The amount of effort you have to get down here and it's just astounding. I got lots of stuff I need to be doing tonight instead of being here. I had no intention of coming down at all. It's unbelievable to me that you're taking a document that says perform and turning it into, oh my God, the sky is falling. A whole Chicken Little play. Just give us the documents. And what they've been giving our auditor, and they really are an auditor. Are you really an attorney? Well, I guess we should question that. So, if you're going to start throwing accusations around, and we've got Bobblehead up here too. So we talk about not having documents. They have said over and over again that it's included in what we've got. No, it's not. It's not in the documents. So all we have to do is just get the documents. Nobody's talked about firing anybody. Thank you.
Does anyone else like to speak? Okay, Council, Stadium Authority Board. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Councilmember Caserta.
Yeah, I want to make some comments and then I'll based on the motion. About a year and a half ago, I said that I was so honored to have so many soccer moms and dads and soccer children here to give their most precious resource, their time. And that night, sadly, a lot of us were tarred and feathered. And tonight, I also feel deja vu in the sense of feeling so thankful to be a witness to your most precious resource, your time, and giving it to us tonight. I really am honored to receive that tonight. But also, some of the comments, tar and feathered some people on this dais as well. I'm also so blessed in my daytime job is to be a teacher in our district, and I just hope tonight is an opportunity. We have to do this better. All of us have to do this better. What I see every day is I see my students, football players, saying, Mr. Caserta, you going to the Niner game this weekend to see us play on Friday night? I see the joy in their faces. I see Juan saying to me how much he loved being part of Santa Clara sporting. I see April, who I teach tomorrow, be part of the gains, girls achieving in non-traditional subjects, and because of the Niners' unbelievable philanthropy with STEM, how we are an icon in our community. I see, tennis players that I used to coach because of the Niners' $100,000 contribution to our district. I was so proud to support my colleagues here and see them win last week in the nadir, the low point of negative spewing on both sides of the most negative campaigning I've seen in my 18 years plus of being a voter here. And what I'm saying is, I'm so tired. I'm so tired today of meeting with Patty Mahan and, feeling what side are you on? I want to support my mayor. I want to support my colleagues. But I also have to be true to what I see every day. The Niners are an amazing philanthropic partner in our city and our youth. The stadium is the best deal any stadium has for any municipality. When the Vikings were doing this, they wanted to replicate everything we did in Santa Clara. We should be proud of this. Mayor Gilmore was a co-chair with Councilmember Kolstad. It was your leadership that we got this done. It has to be a better way, class, meaning my colleagues here. I mean, these people, their perceptions, their reality, they are afraid of losing their job, whether that's true or not. It's time for us to all come together. I'm sick and tired of picking sides. I'm sick and tired of the spewing of us and colleagues and the politics of human instinct and nature that brings out bad. It has to be better. And at the end of the day, it starts with us as leaders. And I want to support my council. I'm so proud of our coming together the last 8 months, but we have to do it better. And I just don't believe that this motion is going to bring us together right now when we can just simply, we have a council meeting next week, we have a council meeting on the 29th, we have the council meeting the following week. We just got this letter right now that I just read 20 minutes ago while I was trying to listen. My perception in this letter is that a lot of our concerns that we've had that's reflected in motion have a potential to be taken off the table. So I would just ask, we all feel this. Aren't you sick and tired, all of us, of picking sides? No, please, please. I mean, I'm sick and tired of it. Okay, Tino loves Santa Clara. Lisa loves Santa Clara. Deborah Bruss loves Santa Clara. Okay, we all love Santa Clara, but we all need to be better. And this motion will just feed into the salt in the wounds. It's not going to do anything for us coming together. Let's lead the five of us here. Why can't we just friendly say, my friendly amendment is, can we please, over the next 2 weeks, which I think this letter does address a lot of our concerns, and if 2 weeks it doesn't, I'll make the motion to support what Debbie put in the motion right now. But the motion right now is not going to bring us together. We have a beautiful stadium. My father and I that don't ever talk at all, we connected at WrestleMania. It's because of this stadium, okay? We need to do better. I'm sick of this. So I'm not supporting the motion. I'm asking a friendly amendment. Can we kick it down the can for 2 weeks, our meeting on the 29th? And if you still have these concerns, I will be the first one asking for this 30-day letter. But let's just take a reprieve for a moment and come together, please. So that's my friendly amendment to the motion. I hope you accept it, Debbie.
Councilmember Kolstad.
Dominic, way to go. I think that 2 weeks, what can 2 weeks do? I mean, the world's not going to end in 2 weeks. I hope you'll agree with him. I hope you'll vote with him. That's just a common sense thing. And give it a chance. See if he's not right. Thank you.
Councilmember Watanabe.
Thank you, Mayor. I've not been tarred and feathered tonight. I'm here to support my city. I'm here to support the mayor. I'm proud of what the mayor has done. I stand beside the audit that she requested. I stand beside it because this is all about Measure J. Measure J, as Hossam said, is the law. And it's the law that 60% of the city of Santa Clara agreed to back in 2010, and I was one of those people. We're asking for the 49ers to comply and be accountable to Measure J. That's what this is all about. And the only way that that can be done is by producing the documents that have been requested. I am not a part of this ad hoc committee. There are only three council members can be a part of it. I can't even attend the meeting because of Brown Act laws. However, what I do know is that these documents have been requested over several weeks, and they've not been produced. And this is what it has to come down to at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night, okay? This is what it comes down to get the job done, to get the answers, so that we can make a decision whether or not the 49ers deserve a rent reset. This is what it comes down to make sure that our general fund is being protected and that your taxpayer dollars are not being spent. This is what it comes down to, and this is what this is all about. I'm proud of everything that the mayor has done. Like I said, I stand beside her. However, there is a better way for this to be done, and that is by producing the documents that have been requested. Going forward, I support sending the warning letter. I don't see any other way, based on what's transpired over the last couple of weeks, to get the team to comply with the terms of the lease. I hope they comply. I hope the 49ers will comply. But if they don't, they should know that the Stadium Authority, the people sitting up here right now, takes this issue seriously. And if we have to take additional steps, we are willing to do so as well, because we have a duty. That's what I am elected now to do. I have a duty to the residents of Santa Clara, and I take that job seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor O'Neill.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to reiterate that about, I respect the employees that came here today. I respect what you do every day, just as I respect what the employees of the city of Santa Clara do every day in capacities from being police officers to firefighters to the people who make sure that our sewer system works and that the lights go on when we flip the switch. So this is no way meant as any disparagement of anybody that's proudly wearing a red shirt in this room tonight. I mean, I understand completely your loyalty to your organization, and I think that speaks to who you are. But, you know, the issue here is a different issue. It is a contractual issue. And it is too bad that things have gotten a little bit rancorous. I don't think that was anybody's hope at the beginning. And I can feel Councilmember Caserta's pain, because that's not what anybody wanted as we went down this path. And I myself, you know, for many years, my job for a major company was to go through documents like this and make sure that I was protecting the rights of the company that I worked for and minimizing risk, you know, like maximize the upsides, minimize the downside. So, I mean, that's a lot of what we're just trying to do. And as I said, we are not trying to take information and put it out in the public. It's just that one of the things, when I saw a budget that was a half a page, and when you talk about the level of detail of work that has to be done on a week-by-week basis to maintain a billion-dollar facility, in order for us to make sure, I have no idea of that. I'm very happy if there's $5 million, but I see a $5 million number. I can't see anything else. And as I said, I'm not talking about at the, you know, the microscopic level. I can't see enough data there to know how that number got there, other than something that was said very generally. If a lot of that information, the information that I've gotten from staff is they've seen some information, but that I haven't gotten the impression that they've gotten enough detail to be able to answer the questions that have been asked to them. You know, this probably wouldn't make the rest of some of my colleagues happy. Rather than Councilmember Caserta's 2 weeks suggestion, and I'm sure the mayor won't like me saying this, if this information is truly all ready for people, for the members of the Harvey Rose and Associates company, if it's really there ready, I would be willing to maybe say, we have a meeting next week, maybe we postpone 1 week. The auditors go out there in the next couple of days. If we find out that the information isn't there, or if they're still being stonewalled, well, then we come back, as Councilmember Caserta pointed out, but I would say 1 week. I would be willing to, you know, if you would consider that, 1 week, let's see what the information is. I know the mayor's probably not going to like that, but if it is only a notice, I mean, it's not like we're actually terminating the contract, but it is our way of saying we take this extremely seriously. And if we haven't, we are now taking steps so that we can adequately manage this, what we need to do from from our side, so that our side of the Stadium Authority is providing the right level of professionalism and resources to be a partner with Manco and Stadco. So we're taking those steps. In order for us to do that, you know, as in my fiduciary role, I've got to see some more of that data. I don't like to see, I have been in contract situations with international companies where somebody threw a termination letter at me, and I'll admit, I was pretty darn ticked. And it, and one of the things that I did, I had pinned up on the wall of my office when they rescinded it. So my suggestion would be, okay, 1 week, let's see what we can do. We'll be back here next week, and if that information isn't there, if our consultants and auditors from Harvey Rose cannot assure the members of the committee that they are getting full cooperation, I will second Dominic Caserta's motion to send the letter of a notice to cure.
So let me understand, we have a meeting on the 22nd. We could actually have the notice prepared, ready to go. If the documents aren't submitted by the 22nd, then we just will approve it at the council meeting and send it. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so Mayor, then I have to amend my motion to include Dominic Caserta. He said 2 weeks, but with Vice Mayor O'Neill, she's saying to city manager, November 22nd.
So that we will postpone,
Okay, so we will postpone the 30-day warn notice, letter, until November 22nd. And at that time, if the documents have not been turned over to the auditor, it will trigger the 30-day warn letter to go out immediately.
And the notice will be prepared.
And the
ready to
notice will
go.
be prepared in advance, so that will happen.
So
So
it'll be
I
on
will
our
amend
agenda.
my motion to include both
So-
of you. Did you have anything
I
over
was
here
the-
to
I was the
reamend?
second, so-
Okay,
Okay, with the, you're okay?
fine, I'm
Is the
fine
second-
if,
okay.
I'm okay.
if two council, okay, so if two council members are okay with, my amendment will be to November 22nd, our next council meeting. If the documents have not been sent to the auditors in the Dropbox, however their delivery system goes, or to the stadium, that on that next council meeting, it will trigger the 30-day letter to go out immediately, which will be prepared by staff so that that will be taken care of. Do you have all that?
So the, is the intent that the item, I have a couple questions. First, is the intent simply that the item be continued to the next council meeting, at which point the council will draw the determination about whether or not the information has been provided? Or if you're making the motion tonight, that if by next Monday or by next Tuesday's meeting, the information hasn't been provided, that staff will automatically send a letter without it coming back to the council?
Right, the city attorney and the city manager will have to make that determination to us, and then it would have to be agendized if.
No, it's coming back to the agenda.
Okay, then it comes back to
So,
the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay,
It comes
all
back
right.
to the council on.
The 22nd.
22nd.
Okay, so
With a pre-prepared notice.
Right.
Pardon me?
Go ahead. City attorney.
Stadium Authority.
Stadium authority.
Madam Mayor, the only challenge will be to post the agenda and to meet our timelines by Thursday. We may not have all that information from.
All you do
Harvey.
is pre-prepare a notice, you have a
Yes.
list of the items that are in the management agreement, and.
No, letter will be
put it on
ready.
the
I'm just saying to
agenda.
put it on the agenda is the timing issue. So.
Well, we
the-
can
you
put it
guys-
on and just have we'll discuss whether everything, it'll be our way to tell
We
the
can do
community
that.
what's happened.
Yes.
Okay, go on the agenda where they can.
To avoid the difficulty with regards to the early agenda, a more feasible motion may be to simply continue this item to next week.
No.
With all
No.
of the
No.
direction to
No.
staff to comply.
No.
Which is, and it's okay if you guys choose to do a motion against it, but I need to make sure very clear that the council and the public realizes that the clerk's office will likely not have the information that we need to release to the public and the council prior to the close of the agenda on Thursday evening. So if that's the case, we'll do our best to provide that information to you
Right,
guys.
it would just be kind of a
We-
placeholder.
Correct, it would be a
Yes.
placeholder, but we
Placeholder.
simply wouldn't have
Correct.
that information to get to you.
Correct.
We can provide the information verbally at the
Correct.
meeting. Yes.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Okay, and so then I guess I need a second on the change of the amendment.
So a motion and a second. Okay, so we'll have a placeholder, and I'm fine with that. And we've waited for 2.5 years, we'll wait 2.5 years and a week to get the information. I just wanted to say, there's many members of the Stadium Authority Board up here that if it wasn't for these members of the board up here, we actually wouldn't have a stadium. So I want to applaud the people up here. Every single one of us want that stadium to be successful. But guess what? We kept our end of the contract. We kept our end of the bargain. We let the public build that stadium, and we kept our end of the bargain. The 49ers and the management co need to keep your end of the bargain. I think if we do that, we don't have a problem. I'm really sorry everyone had to come out tonight, and I understand. I know I took a lot of hits. It's okay. I can do it. I have teenagers. But honestly, I'm really sorry. Had your management provided the documentation that they're required to provide under the contract, you wouldn't be here this evening. We wouldn't even be talking about this. Nobody wants to take your jobs. Nobody wants to take food from your children. I mean, it's a nice strategy, but that's not the situation here. It's a contractual situation. It's a law situation. All they have to do. So if there's, anger or disappointment, please talk to your management and tell them to provide us with the documents they need to provide us by the contract. It's our obligation to keep everybody in our community, keep our end of the contract. So let's see, any other staff? Rod, do you have any other issues?
No, I think we've got it clear.
Okay,
Thank
your
you.
light's on, so.
I'm just being friendly.
Councilmember Colstead.
Thanks, Mayor. This may be semantics, or maybe I'm micromanaging this issue, but I think Councilmember Davis said something to the effect that the Management Co. would put these documents on the Dropbox, et cetera, and get them to Fred Brousseau and the other auditors. And I think I heard Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Sabatino and just about everybody from the staff over there say that they have arranged for Mr. Brousseau to come to the stadium or to wherever their offices are and read the stuff there so that it's not out on the internet or some other electronic media for other folks to read. So as long as, if that's okay, if that's understood, that Fred can read the stuff and
Okay, I
learn
believe-
from it, but not get copies of it.
Well, let's put it this way.
I believe what he said was Tuesday or Wednesday was an option for them to go to the 49er Stadium to see this.
Councilmember Davis, we're not going to get into the issues of when or where they're going or what they have. What we want is to look at the management agreement. Does the management agreement say that the documents have to be turned over to the Stadium Authority? If they do, the documents need to be turned over to the Stadium Authority. Whatever the management agreement says, that's what they have to provide. That's all we can go on. We can't make interpretations of what is confidential, what's not. Whatever the management agreement says, that's what we're asking, nothing more. That's what we're asking that they provide. And I think that's what the motion is. Okay? So lights, we have a motion, second, lights on the motion. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Okay.
Want to take a 5-minute break?
We are, yes, we'll take a 5-minute break because we have other issues. Thank you. Huh?